I
I'm
mean,
so
that's
depressed. I
that's how I felt
think we're
with my
live.
Blue Yeti. I bought the Blue Yeti because I got, it was a recommendation and I didn't do any research and I just bought it. And
Yeah.
then I just I didn't like it. I just didn't like the sound. I didn't like how it, because I'm like a musician, you know what I mean? The
Hmm.
mic just matters to me. So
No, that's fair. It's like
bother me.
out of everything, like audio, you can have shitty video, but audio needs to be on point
Right.
because you need to be able to communicate, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's do this again.
All right, we're live again.
Just kidding, guys. Here's a link. Here's
Ah,
the
damn, why did that
link.
happen?
I didn't put in the link. All right, I'm gonna send an email blast.
Yeah, I gotta send one too. Yo, it's 7 o'clock.
Oh my god. What is wrong with us? We're
Right.
colored people times is
Right.
so real. Yo, you're just like, bro, I'm black. I'm
I'm
sorry.
yeah, like I'm
I was
sorry.
like
I'm gonna be 10 minutes late.
I was like, you've never met Dominicans. They violate all of that. All right, I think we're good. I think we have something going now. Two watching. Hey guys, there's two people watching. Feel free to ask us questions. All of the above. Let me go to Slack again. Hey guys, just kidding. Just kidding.
Yo, what is up with YouTube and these new like
Here's the
video settings?
I have no idea.
No,
Here's the
don't
real
restrict
link.
my video to viewers over 18.
Here's the real link. At channel.
All right.
Channel.
Uh Nick said, "Welcome to my world, guys."
Are you in the right stream? I think you're in the wrong one.
No, I know. I'm on the older one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because
I'm
that's
about
the
to
chat.
come through
I think the
to
two
the
people
newer
are
one.
watching are you and I.
No way. I don't think so.
I think so. I'll
People
just post it
watching
on my.
us. Yo, I like now that we're on here, I legit so what I did the other day, if you go watch my live stream that I did the other day, right?
Yeah.
I sat there and I was like this, right? Like smiling like a
I know. I
retard.
saw it. I was like,
Like, what am I doing, right? I did that because YouTube will auto populate the thumbnail, right?
let's
So
auto
like
populate our thumbnail.
right, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. That didn't work because I'm looking at it right now and I'm like, yo, you know what? While we're doing this, let me just change this thing real quick. And like, it
Yeah.
has the ugliest faces right here. And I'm just like, bruh, I did all that for no reason. All right, whatever. We're just gonna use
I
that one.
just we just did that again for no reason. That's great. Cool.
Yeah, great. Who knows? It might
Yo,
work for
this
you.
should be catching me in like the worst. Let me just share my screen real quick.
All right, let me see. Let me see.
Look at this. Why does it always catch me in like the worst kind of frame where I'm like, and watch like this like thumbnail just stop at like it's great. It's great. It's real great. My DMs are dry. It's all good though. All right, I'm gonna send out an email, new
Same.
broadcast email.
What email software are you using now?
Drip. It was stupid. I wish I didn't. It's so
I feel the same way
overpriced.
about Mailer Lite. It's not overpriced, but it's not really that good.
It's so
Um,
overpriced, and it's just like for what? For
yeah,
what? Name my email. AMA digital marketing live stream
let's see, let's see.
happening right now.
Yo, I can't
Address.
believe I'm ranking number one for S. I mean, like not number one, but I'm ranking for SEO. That's crazy
Yeah, I
because of
don't
a
know
live stream.
why.
That's
How?
crazy. I don't
How did that
know.
happen? I mean, that's pretty cool though. How do I add everyone? Can I just add everyone? Oh, what do I do?
Um, Hey,
All right, I'm writing an email. Yeah,
here's
same.
yeah, right. I need to first off, I need to tell people we have a podcast.
Oh shit, me too. I didn't do that. I was so critical of like how dumb I sounded, so I was just like,
Nah, you're good.
and
You're
my
good.
mic was so bad. I was like, I sounded like I sound like Shy Ronnie. This is my perspective on marketing. Marketing. I was like, who the fuck do I think I am? What the hell?
like it's like, yeah. So yeah, exactly. That's what you gotta do.
Absolutely ridiculous what paid media strategists are doing nowadays.
I was like, wow, I need to fix the way I talk. Stat.
Yo,
And
yo,
yo,
you
you were
dead.
so much louder than me. I was
I
like,
was so loud. Like I was so loud. Yeah, you need to.
SEO.
Yo, the only time you was really loud is when you were like Google.
I know. I was like, dang. I just broke everyone's
Like, damn, I
ears
should have
now.
spoke like that the whole throughout the whole podcast
Facts.
episode.
Hey,
All right.
fam.
Hey, here's damn, I
We
can't write the whole update right now.
no, just we'll just say it here and just link it.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Right now, guys, we're live streaming. As you can see, we have 4 people watching. Ask us some digital marketing questions. We're sending out an email blast to get people involved and so that I can get subscribers because no one likes me. If you want to show that you like me because of my insanely low self-esteem, please subscribe and like this video. Thank you so much.
Subscribe and like.
Subscribe and like, please. Yo, so as soon as I said that, someone dipped. Ask us some questions, like, subscribe, all of the above. In the meantime, I'm going to craft this email blast to get people to join this live stream. And it's very hard to think and type at the same time. It's very
It
hard to do
is.
this. Yes, it's extremely hard. Cancel. I always feel like somebody's watching me.
Yo, you should become a singer. Let's do it.
All right, you do lead vocals, I'll do backup.
Yeah, I'm good.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm
You
good.
sure?
Yo, we can rap.
I cannot do that shit, but
Yo,
you
you could play the
could.
ukulele and I'll just rap to you
That's
playing that.
that's gonna be
I'm
disastrous.
imagine if we did that though,
You
for
should
real.
do it
That's a YouTube
digital
episode.
marketing. That would get a lot of views and for all the wrong reasons.
Right?
People wanting to see like a disaster happening in real time. Baby, we live. Anyone
Yeah,
asking us questions? No, right? Yeah.
live with Cynthia on YouTube. Normally takes about 30 minutes for people to start asking questions. I don't know why, but
All right, we gotta warm it up. We gotta warm it up. We live. Try and look for a good GIF. You know, here I'll share my screen as I'm doing this email. Guys, I gotta get a good GIF. We go live. Oh, I don't know about that one. You hear me? I wish they had the baby we live, like a GIF of that. We are live. Oh, all right, we'll do this one.
damn, my I want to like create like a subject that people are gonna click. So I'm, like a subject line. So I'm like writing like live with Cynthia
Could say the great.
previous previous mark because the people that I have in my email list, most of them are from LinkedIn.
Oh,
So I'm trying to think
we got to
previous
keep it
mark
profesh.
like previous marketing manager. That's what that's your title at Damon's company, right?
Yeah, the digital marketing manager.
Okay.
Why don't you put what's the sexy
Or like
title?
ABC.
I don't know. You figured out. You're a marketer. You got this.
Yeah, let's go.
You got
Shark
this.
Tank.
Dang. Yeah. Previous. Yeah. Shark Tank. Oh, I wrote down a question. Someone asked me, how did I get my job? Well, how to get a job in digital marketing, and I can go over how I got my job with Damon. John from ABC Shark
Um,
Tank. How do I? Okay, done editing, right? Oh, okay, cool. Done. Done.
Manager.
Hey, fam. I'm currently live with one of one of the SEO greats.
Live with City and of previous head of marketing at ABC.
What is your title? Business coach, SEO,
Yeah, I'm still like, I don't know, business coach. Yeah, SEO business coach or whatever. Business. Yeah,
business coach.
for SEOs.
I wrote
Line,
coach business. Business coach. Uh battle rapper.
right. All right,
He
that's
does it
the.
all. We're answering all questions concerning digital marketing from Q4 strategies, paid media strategies, to strategies to
Hey guys, while we're writing out these emails that we're gonna blast to everyone, start writing some questions so we can answer your questions. Thanks a lot, Dre and team.
appreciate you. Yeah. Why am I not in this? You can just hear me, but you can't. Oh, that's weird. Let me stop sharing my screen so you can see my face now. Here we go. You can see my face now. We're answering all questions concerning digital marketing from Q4 paid media strategies to career advice. What's something you want to talk about? From AI to career advice, AI, automation. That's a
Yeah,
good one. Automation. Automation.
humanizing marketing.
Automation. You name it. Join us. Join us live. Join us here. Currently live on a SEO Grace Dresean and Bonorapi does it all. We're answering all. Join us here. See you soon. It's happening now. Done editing. Let's
Hey
blast
guys,
this
if you don't
bitch.
know, live stream with the DSN. Oh, YouTube. You know what? You know what I'm about to do? I'm about to just be the most like lazy person ever. I know what I'm about to do.
Nick, what's up, Nick? What is up? I need to add this link here. I always feel like somebody's watching me. Nick, how are you doing? Did you like
Which
my
Nick is that?
Schleiner? Did you like my
Nick.
spiel on Q4 and CPMs, rising CPMs, how that's not necessarily a bad thing? Because it's not. It's not. It's not a bad thing.
All right. Here we
Right?
go. I'm like super lazy. Just gonna copy that about from Facebook. I'm gonna make some tweaks.
Why can't I just like, why is this weird? I don't want to send it to a custom audience. I want to send it to everyone. How do I send it to everyone? These people. Based on segments, city, purchase history. Ah, got it. And got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Anyone?
Yo, Nick, what do you think of my mic, bro?
Your mic is pretty fire, dude.
I love it.
It's pretty fire.
I'm probably not gonna stop talking about it till next year.
Throw in the affiliate link in the chat. Throw it in. You know you wanna.
Yeah, I definitely am
You
addicted to throwing
wanna.
in affiliate links.
You know you wanna. How's this color? Look at that.
Let's see. Let's see.
One person. Why send it to one person? What? What? Done editing. Oh, I still regret drip. Truly.
Yeah, I think I'm. If you switch, what would you switch to?
MailChimp. Keep it simple.
I don't like
Cheap.
MailChimp.
No.
Nah.
There's like convert. What's that one? Starts with a C.
I think I would go to active campaign.
That makes sense. It's easy one.
What was I about to do? Oh yeah, I was about to add a picture. Okay. Guys, ask us questions.
Yeah, let's get your questions, man.
I wonder if we should share this on LinkedIn too. I mean, might as well share it everywhere.
LinkedIn. Really?
Yeah, why not? The people who engage with our content, I mean, they'll watch. Maybe next time. Maybe when we plan it out. Yeah, when we plan it out.
Nick says your mic is fire.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate you.
It is fire. All right. 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 Alrighty, guys. We're sending out some email blasts here. Please like and subscribe. My channel is fairly new. Plan on pumping out a lot of content with, he says link. Oh, there's no link there.
Subscribe for the YouTube gods.
Yeah, subscribe for the YouTube gods. Gobs. Subscribe for the YouTube gods and for me, please.
Nah, honestly, when you say subscribe for the YouTube gods, I think it increases your subscriber count because, like, literally, that live stream that we had when you kept saying that, I got so many subs.
Really?
Seriously.
I'm about to bring on Nick in a bit. Nick, I'm gonna send you a link in a little bit. I'm just warming this shit up. All right. So, guys. Actually, let me just invite Nick now. What am I talking about? Get it poppin'. Poppin'. I'll throw it in the chat and see what comes in.
All right.
What are you laughing about?
What's going on with this? Nah, I'm just laughing because I hate this thing, but I chose to use it. So, oh, I know what I gotta do. Okay, just do this. Yeah, there we go. This will make it so much easier. All right, boom. Leave it like that. And
How are you guys doing? What's everyone up to today? All 4 people watching. How can I help you? 5. Oh, we got 5 people watching.
Ooh.
Well, can you like this, please? 5 people? Can you do me a
Like,
salad,
please share.
please? Pretty please share this. And dude, ask us some questions. Let's go into some of our backgrounds. Let's introduce ourselves. Are you good right now?
I'm still editing, but you could go ahead.
All right, I'll just go ahead and introduce myself. So, hi guys, I am Cynthia. You can call me Cyn. I am a paid media strategist. I previously worked with Damon John from ABC Shark Tank. I do a lot of cool stuff. Right now, I am managing my own little boutique agency where it's half education, half working with clients, specifically in the e-commerce space, providing services pertaining to paid media, Google ads and Facebook ads, some CRO, some email. I am a consultant freelancer. I don't like the word freelancer because I guess now I'm honestly a business owner. Um, yeah, that's what I do right now. A lot of people come to me um, for advice transitioning from working a 9 to 5 to freelance. They also come to me to figure out how to get a job within digital marketing. It's a booming industry, and also a business coach helping other freelancers or aspiring freelancers transition into the 6-figure freelance space, specifically within paid media. That's what I do. So with all of that said, do y'all have any questions? Ooh, so LLD, sorry if I butcher your seemingly butchered name. Mig, sorry, sorry, Mig two. What pays more, PPC or SEO as a career, and which one is it easier to attain clients? Oh, look who it is.
Yo,
Look who it
Nick, you got
is.
to put on
Yo,
some headphones, bro.
yeah, bro.
All right.
Too much freaking. I'm gonna mute you until you figure your shit out. Okay, so
we
um
just we just spent forever trying to figure it out, bro. Don't feel bad.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, don't feel bad at all. Which one pays more? You know, I don't know cuz I like to think that when you touch money, you make more money. Within advertising, we work in the realm of managing lots and lots of advertising dollars and growing businesses, but so do SEOs, and all of the great SEOs scale businesses. So I think there's a way to, you're good. Okay, let me unmute you. Or okay, you unmuted yourself. Okay, so with that being said, you can make a lot of money with both. I think there's a lot of, it's really hard to sell SEO. I don't know because of depending on the angle that you go about it. But with PPC, I think from my perspective, just because you touch money, because you can report on how much money exactly that you've generated month over month and the profit. Uh, from my perspective, it's easier, but I am oftentimes wrong. Dre,
so wait, I can hear the question. So
the question is which one's easier, PPC or SEO? Which one's easier as a career? Or what pays more? Which one's easier to attain clients? I think they both
so
have their pros and cons, you know?
yeah, so I've always said that I think that in a job, you'll probably make more if you're doing PPC, but it really depends on where you're working, right? So a lot of the larger
Yeah,
companies, once you
usually.
get a job at those larger companies, like if you work at HubSpot or something, you'll make a decent amount of money. But those are really hard to come by because most of these larger companies outsource their SEO to like agencies and stuff like that. And when they do have larger teams, like they do have, larger SEO teams, they pay those people really well. But the likelihood of you landing one is kind of low, mainly because of the fact that again they hire like partner agencies to assist them with their SEO efforts. So I think that as far as and if you get into an agency role, like if you go into an agency job, you can make a lot of money, but it really depends on what agency you work at and how much they value SEO. Like there's a lot of agencies that's just like web design agencies that they have SEO, but they don't really value it, and they won't pay you that much, right? So it really depends. It with everything, it's about the it's about the it's everything is contextual, right? So it depends on how much that person values that thing, and then that is what will dictate how much you will get paid. But
It
I've
depends.
seen like But I've seen like positions where like Uber is paying $250,000 a year for an SEO manager, right? So like that does happen. It's just that it's not, you're not going to see it as much as you would see like PPC jobs paying that much. And a lot of the times too is because in a lot of PPC jobs, from what I've seen, they will pay you like additional commissions on top of your salary or bonuses and stuff
Yeah,
like
there's a
that.
lot of incentive bonuses depending on how much revenue you generate. So I think at the end of the day, it's really how much impact you have on the business.
Exactly. And so like if you, and that's another thing too, is also about like you as a negotiator and you as, you know, what leverage do you have? How can you show that you're different than everybody else so that you can get a higher salary, right? But in SEO, you can get a high salary, you know, like for sure. You know, there's high salaries in both positions. As far as clients though, it really depends, right? If you're trying to sell SEO to a business owner that lives right down the block from you, it's going to be hard for you to sell SEO to them because you have to explain the value of what you're selling, right? Like most people, the main reason why a lot of people will just opt to get somebody who does PPC for them is because they're like, yeah, I'm gonna get you immediate results. That's what most paid media strategists tell business owners, right?
That's not
The thing,
true.
a lot of them do.
Well, I
Oh,
guess like the shadier ones, but the
Well, what's the
I-
percentage of shady to non-shady? That's the real
right.
question.
but the goal is like you're I think it's important to transcend these titles because at the end of the day you're a marketer. You're an advertiser. That's the thing between SEOs and PPC people. Even certain PPC people get stuck in like the technician bucket, right? We were talking about this before. You're an advertiser and you're a marketer at the end of the day. So your goal is to sell. It's your goal is to position the product or service that your client provides in the right light, at the right place, at the right time with the right messaging, right? So I,
But a
there's
lot
like
of
fundamental differences in the kind of services that we provide, right? So I think in the term, like when you're a freelancer, if you position yourself as someone that scales businesses, you could leverage not only just PPC, you leverage SEO as well. Like
right.
the two go hand in hand, and it behooves you to have like omni-channel approaches or to tell your client to have an omni-channel approach. I think that anyone who's just like a PPC person that's going to tell you like, yeah, you'll have results overnight, you'll have data overnight, not results
Not
that are
results,
impactful. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but not everyone is taking that approach and telling them that, right? Like most PPC people, the reason why
That's the difference between an amateur and an expert, though.
right. But that's the thing. When the client is talking to you, they don't know if you're an amateur or expert unless you showcase that, right? So a lot of the times, like people try to leverage that. Hey, you can work with me because I'll get your results overnight, or I'll get your results immediately. Like that's the main selling point when most PPC advertisers are selling their stuff if they're freelancers, right?
If
From what
any
I've seen.
advertiser, if any marketer or freelancer says that, I'll give you results overnight without understanding your
Well,
business.
they're not
Oh
saying that.
shit.
They're not
That's what it
they're not
is.
saying they're not
Like
saying
that,
that
yeah.
like directly, but they're saying like, yeah, you know, the difference is if you hire me, I can get you results faster than if you hire this PPC, I mean this SEO person. When in reality, a lot of the time,
That's so bad.
yeah, when in reality, a
So
lot of the times it's very
false.
contextual. Because here's the thing: if I'm working on, so this is why you need to know how to qualify your clients and know who you want to work with. Because, for example, if I'm working with a large authoritative website, then that argument of "yo, I'll get you results faster than that" SEO person goes out the window. Because I've literally worked on websites where we posted an article on Google and we're able to rank in 24 hours, and we got feature snippet results, which is the number one, you know, the top result all the way at the top when it's in that box, right? I've seen that happen in 24 hours. So it really depends on the type of client that you're working on. If they value that and I thought I heard somebody screaming. If they,
Oh my God, are you okay?
did you guys hear that?
No.
No, we
Oh,
did
I
not
thought I heard
hear
somebody
that.
screaming. Okay. I
No,
thought it
it's
was my
just your inner
grandmother.
voice.
But if you qualify correctly, right, and you're working with like, because a lot of the people, like you'll see like people like Ruan Marino who will tell you go sell a website and then sell SEO. You know, that's a cool strategy, but I rather just work with someone who knows what SEO is and values SEO so that when I'm talking to them, I can just tell them, hey, I can help you increase your traffic. I can help you get more revenue. I can help you do this. And I can help you. And the way that I'm different is I look at your business as a whole. I don't just look at just this one thing, because I know that your business is a proponent of multiple things, right? Like there's a bunch of things that matters, right?
Exactly. And a good consultant, a good marketer is going like it's the same thing with PPC. I actually don't work with anyone that doesn't value SEO or doesn't have SEO efforts. That's one of my like questions that I ask them in discovery. What other efforts, marketing efforts do you have going on? What are your marketing efforts look like? Because I am hoping to scale the business. PPC is a scaling tool. That's how I use it. So if all of your fundamentals are shit, we need to work from the ground up. So a good a good marketer that's on your team, a good consultant, a good PPC person, a good paid media strategist, what they're going to do is, like, for example, I referred a client to Dresean, right?
Yeah.
I knew that they needed to work really, really intensely on their SEO strategy because they had a competitor issue, a copycat issue, and the because their margins, the competitors' margins were so low, they really opted for a more organic approach. So whereas we were competing a lot better and doing better on PPC, that wasn't necessarily profitable. And we needed to blow our competitors out of the water. So what we need to do is have an even stronger SEO strategy, right? Couple that with PPC, we have higher margins. My client, we have higher margins, so we can go even harder with PPC. We can get more creative. We can run Facebook advertising. We can test on Pinterest because that's like a lot of their demographics are females. I mean, all of their demographic is females, their target audience, their personas, whatever. So let's utilize both of that together in order to scale the business. And on top of that, let's test on the landing page. CRO is a big thing that goes hand in hand with paid. When I teach advertisers or I teach paid media strategists, I'm teaching them that, like you were saying, that holistic approach, that omni-channel approach. Like it's your job
And that's your
to
job, like,
exactly. It's
yeah.
your job to see which pieces are impactful. And sometimes paid needs to take a back seat from SEO. Sometimes SEO needs to just maintain what it is, like keep growing. And we need to go very hard on paid because at the end of the day, advertising never dies. Like advertising is an art that has been around since forever. Like it's been super effective. Like it's shifted our culture. It's changed our culture. It's manipulated our culture. It's just now it's on digital platforms like Facebook and Google. Those are the main ones. But I mean, it's
Yeah.
never going to go
So,
away. So you need both. You just need both. It's not
right.
one over the other.
And also the other side of the spectrum to that client question is that, although people might say, okay, I can start running your ads and get you results really quickly as opposed to SEO. Oh, Terry is in here. Oh,
Terry,
okay.
this is the
Terry.
non-geekiest digital marketing talk I've ever heard.
So the other side of the spectrum
What's up,
though,
Terry? Talk your
the,
talk.
the other side of the spectrum is that some people might not be able to afford spending thousands and thousands of dollars on paid advertising. So in that regard, they might say, you know what, I just want to do SEO instead. So in terms of what is easier or harder to sell, it really just depends on the client's goals, the needs, and what they
Yeah.
can afford, right? There's many cases where SEO might be easier to sell, and there's many cases where paid might be easier to sell. So it just depends on that client. And that's why when you're doing sales, it's important to understand what the goals are and what they're trying to accomplish and what their budget is in general, right? You need to ask those questions. You need to make sure you're hitting those pain points, because if you're not, then how are you even, like, what are you even communicating, right? Like, how are you even setting them up for success?
Yeah.
So those are the things you should be asking.
I was going to say that too. Like at the end of the day, you have to think about the value that you're providing to the client. If someone comes to you and they say, I need X, Y, and Z, well, you need to actually discern if that's true. Like you need to.
Yep.
So if a restaurant owner comes to me and they're like, I want to run Facebook ads, I'm like, well,
What?
I Googled you and I don't see your
No.
name come up. Why don't you focus on Yelp? Like, why don't you focus on local SEO? Why don't you focus on X, Y, and Z? And then on top of that, and then once you have those foundational things set off, then we can, then it would make more sense to run advertising, unless they, sometimes people get a grant and they just want to spend it straight onto advertising. Previously, like people would spend money on like newspaper advertising. So sometimes they just have a budget, but that's not the right client for me. You need to know what makes sense for you. I think like in the beginning, it's hard to discern that. You kind of have to just go through the motions, right? But you get a sense of things. You pick up red flags. But at the end of the day, when it comes to clients and the question of like, hey, which one is easier to attain, like which one. They both have their nuances. They're, at the end of the day, it depends on the client and the impact that you're providing, the value that you're providing, and how much impact you're generating for their bottom line, you know.
Yep. And another thing too that a lot of people I think don't realize as well is that like when you're so one of the things that I like to do whenever I get a new client, right? Because I don't work with people who don't have a lot of traffic typically. So like if I get a client, the first thing that I'm doing most of the time is if my client has 100,000 people coming to their website per month, the first thing that I'm doing is not like, oh, how can I get them more traffic? The first thing I'm doing is I'm looking at how much conversions are they getting, and how can I impact the amount of conversions that they're getting right now. So if they're getting 20,000 people to buy for them on a monthly basis, how can I make it so that they're getting 40,000 people to buy for them? Because if I can immediately increase the revenue, like the monthly revenue from that point, from the time they've hired me, then I don't have to justify anything. It's like, look, you started working with me. After you started working with me this month, this is what happened. And this is what I did. These are the changes that I made. So I try to do a lot of the times what people don't realize is that SEO too is just not just SEO, right? And this is everything. Like you should never just be doing paid ads. You should be doing paid ads, but you should also be doing some CRO. You should be split testing. You should be doing all this different stuff. And so that's why I like working with companies that already have traffic, because if they have traffic, it's easier for me to show value right away. And as time goes on, yeah, I'll get them more traffic. I'll get them growing organically, but if I can directly show that I'm impacting their revenue, that's what they're going to care about. You know what I mean? Like
At the end of the day, I mean, like that's all paid media advertisers, like that's all we do. We're just
right.
trying to double your bottom line. We're scaling your business. So whereas there's not so much, like there's creative, obviously there's creative involved. There's a lot of positioning. There's a lot of branding in order to build your funnel, right? To get them to purchase and to understand. And there's, that varies for each and every product or every kind of business. You have to understand those nuances, but you're trying to add to their bottom line. So I guess with SEO, you can get really in the weeds. Whereas us as like straight performance marketers, we're looking directly at revenue. Like we're looking directly at revenue. We're looking directly at ROAS, specifically me for e-commerce, return on ad spend. Like I'm just looking at profit, trying to get profitable within, I also like to just work with clients that already have an account going and have data, so I could just optimize. Like I don't
Right.
do like fresh, because I could just, like there's a lot of learning and it doesn't make sense for the amount that I charge. Usually that's dictates where you're at, in your business and how you're growing it. So
Yeah.
And typically in
same thing for
SEO,
me.
you want to look at it like year over year, because like the ROI year over year, because you can see revenue gained since the time that you started working with them, right? And the good thing about SEO really is that if I get you ranking number one for a keyword, like you're ranking, until you're ranking basic. Like if I'm working with you and my goal, and I know that you want to rank for this specific keyword, like for example, one of my clients wanted to rank for like transgenic mice or something like that. I got them ranking for that keyword. They're still ranking for that keyword. They've been ranking for that keyword for like a year. So they've been consistently bringing in traffic and revenue because of that. You know what I mean? And it's not like it's like we know that is directly because of the SEO efforts, because we can track it in Google Analytics, but also we can see like what is happening outside of that. Like we can also see it from a paid perspective because we have the data around that as well.
Yeah,
And so
have you guys ran like just Google ads too? Because like if
yeah,
you
we
just
we
take
ran
up
ads.
more real estate on the
Yeah,
site,
that's better.
it's
Right.
just better. That's why those two go hand in hand together. I don't think you shouldn't pick one over the other. It's not
We should
one.
do both.
They're both effective. Like
You
one
should
is
at least
foundational.
try.
It's
Yeah.
like
Wait,
this.
what were you
Let's
gonna say?
give it.
Wait, Nick was gonna say something.
Well, sometimes you should, but you should try both at some point. Like I got one client, we tried Google Ads, and so far it's failed miserably. But that doesn't mean I'm gonna still keep trying it. But we had Facebook ads as well.
Well, here's another thing,
I
right?
just think SEO is one of those foundational things that you have to have.
You need to have it.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
here's another thing, right? Like what people don't know as well. Well, I don't know. Maybe you know this, but the faster your website loads,
I think we all know it.
the faster.
I hope
I'm
so.
talking about the audience. I'm talking about the audience.
Oh.
The faster your website loads, right? the more revenue you can generate, right? Because there's a direct impact between how fast your website loads and how many conversions you're getting, mainly because when your website loads slower, people tend to click off your website. But that is an SEO thing, right? Now, when you combine the two, right? When you compare, because even if you're creating a landing page, if you don't know how to compress images, or you have like some type of weird JavaScript thing going on your page where like the critical rendering path is being blocked or something, whatever. If that is happening and that is preventing your page from loading fast, people will click on your campaign, but you'll waste a lot of spend, because if your website takes longer than 3 seconds to load, right, then you're going to have a lot of drop offs. But if you make your page faster, right, and you combine that with paid media, the traffic coming to your website, then you'll get more conversions. And that's very important, right? So
With page,
that's a
no, what were you gonna say? Finish your
I was
thought.
gonna say that's just another thing that's another reason why they're so good to use in tandem, because if you're not using them in tandem, then you might be missing revenue right there, right?
Yeah. So with paid, so with site speed, that's actually a part of quality score and user experience. So you actually get dinged. You know, you end up spending more per click, like with Google, if your landing page speed is too low. And same with Facebook. They care about user experience at the end of the day. So if you're sending traffic from Facebook, from their platform, to a website that leads to poor user experience, you get dinged in the end. You
Yep.
know, there you get like a bad feedback score. It's just, so you need the two. They're absolutely vital, and one really supports the other. I think SEO is foundational. And then in order to scale your efforts even further, more aggressively, it's a very aggressive thing to do, to throw advertising behind that. Um, Especially to just compete in general. Not everyone, local businesses, not all of them need Google, like Facebook ads or Google ads. It doesn't always make sense. But I
Yep.
think local SEO is a must. Like, you need
Yep.
to be searchable, you need to be visible online. If you
Or
have the
even
means to do so, like if you have from your revenue, you're allowed to allot a certain amount to also test advertising. You should do that too. Like paid media, you should test Google ads, Facebook ads. But if that doesn't work, SEO is foundational. Like, you just need that.
facts.
Yeah.
And another thing too with like paid ads is like how specific you can get and how you can target. Like when you rank on Google for a term, it's a very widespread. You're getting in front of everyone, right?
Yeah.
But with paid ads, you can dictate like, who you want your ads to see, or what you can even look
You
at.
dictate the messaging, more importantly, because
Exactly.
it's direct to sell, whereas
Exactly.
SEO is very organic, very top of funnel. The keywords that you rank for can be very
Bottom.
high user intent, very long tail.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, like with paid media, it's the messaging, it's the copywriting, it's the positioning, it's all of that stuff. The landing page, how it's positioned to sell a certain way, to sell the product at the end of the day.
Just retargeting alone is important, because like if you can retarget people based off people who came to your website organically, I mean, that puts you at a competitive advantage, especially if you know who it is that you want to target. So
Yep.
that's why it's so crucial. So never think of, and one thing that I'll say too is that I think something I've been thinking recently is that, like, for example, if you look at this guy John Linking from Ignite Visibility, he does both. Like he does paid advertising and SEO. And I don't know like how good he is at paid, but one thing I noticed is that because he does both, and I'm not saying you should do both because they're like he has years in digital marketing, but because he does both, it's just like his overall understanding of just like both mediums. It just shows you can see like how good he is with both and using them together. And like when you understand it at that level, in my opinion, that's when you're even more dangerous. Like if you know SEO like how I know SEO, and you know paid media like how Sin knows paid media,
And Nick.
your yeah, and Nick knows paid media, your value automatically goes up, right? So
Yeah. Well, that's the difference
sorry,
between like
Nick.
someone who's that's the difference between someone who's like a technician versus like a CMO, right? A CMO understands all of these mediums, and they have all of these levers, and they turn them on and turn them off whenever it makes sense, because they're looking at the brand overall, they're looking at competitors overall, et cetera, et cetera.
Mhm.
Guys, if you're still with me, which you are, 7 people watching now, like
Come on,
this video, subscribe,
subscribe,
please.
subscribe.
Ask us some questions before we go into another SEO rabbit hole.
All right.
Nick, how are you doing, by the way? Introduce yourself.
All right, so I'm Nick Schulaner. I'm the mechanical marketer. I do digital marketing. I'm in the paid media branch, kind of like Sin. I'm also going to college for mechanical engineering. That's where mechanical marketing comes from.
So interesting.
So yeah, that's what
How
I'm
do
doing.
How do you use your background in mechanical engineering with like Google advertising and Facebook advertising?
Mostly just to sell people on the idea that I'm smart and know what I'm doing.
That's a
It's
good angle
That's a
though.
good marketer.
I shouldn't be able to do that though. But at the end of the day, nobody would ever say it's like, "Oh, Nick must be stupid because he's working on a mechanical engineering degree." I'm just like, "Well, if this is how people see people, studying mechanical engineering, I might as well use it." One of the clients I just got is actually at my school. He's studying mechanical engineering until he dropped out last semester. But
Oh, that's really interesting. That's pretty
yeah,
cool.
yeah. Yeah, I really
How
like
did
working with him because he makes well, he's got two businesses. I'm helping him with one. One is Wazoo themed cookie cutters. Like imagine this symbol right here, but as a cookie
Wazoo?
cutter. Yeah,
That's the
WSU.
name of the
Yeah,
It's a Wazoo.
Washington
Oh.
State University.
Wazoo
Your
Yeah.
college.
Wazoo theme cookie cutter.
I was like,
Yeah.
That's the
Now,
name of the
cookie?
business.
now
No, like
that's what
actual
they
cookie
sell. Their
cutters.
name is because it's Wazoo Cougars because
Okay.
that's a sports team. So it's Cookie Cutters.
Huh. That's
Coogie.
cute.
Cookie Cutters.
So you just advertise like everyone within like 0.2
Well,
miles from campus, basically.
well,
Like who else?
not quite. There's actually, well, he has an email list, so of course I'm doing a lookalike of that on Facebook because I'm doing Facebook ads. I only started working with him about a month and a half ago,
That's
but
smart.
I'm starting simple. I'm just going Facebook ads. So obviously I'm doing the lookalike of his emails. I am doing Pullman, which is the city that the college is in. Plus, I think I set it to 10, or actually not even, because Pullman is only like 5 miles in radius. So I think I only set it for like 3 or 4 miles, like Pullman plus 3 or 4 miles.
Mhm.
And the other one is basic targeting, which to me is just interests, like people who are interested in Wazoo football, people who are Wazoo alums.
Uh-huh.
Um,
You can also do
That's-
like friends of friends, like people you can target people that
yep.
yeah, friend or people that are even so if they have a strong social following, a lookalike of their Facebook group, Facebook page, lookalike of their Instagram followers, people that have engaged, even like a warmer audience, people that have engaged with their social.
Oh yeah.
But that's gonna be really tough to sell, and you have to have a really good
Not at
you have to have
all.
great really.
Not
Wow.
at all.
That's awesome then.
Like
You
I
have
like
a-
I
you
made
have to
a
have a really
point.
great landing page, like a really really solid one.
Well, it's
Well,
not
I
the
mean, like,
best
that's for
landing.
everything.
It's not the best landing page, but apparently it works. Because like I made a really big point of telling him when I was onboarding him, it's like, look, I'm not going to be able to get you results like right away. It's not like I just make the campaign, turn it on, and boom, you're getting a positive ROI. That usually takes like a month or two at least of, just trying different things with the audiences and the ad
Way
copy.
more if it's
And
fresh.
yeah, he was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. That makes sense. And
Yeah.
You should
we
get them to at
were
least sign up for
ROI
your journey.
positive in like 2 weeks
Wow.
of me turning the
Wow.
campaign on. So
How
I
much are
am
you spending? How much are you spending?
right now dirt cheap. It's the official budget's like $500 a month, and I think this first month we spent a little bit less. Okay, here's the thing though. Last month we got like almost a 6.5 times ROAS.
So why
And-
can't you? That's a clear indication that you should throw more budget there.
I know that's what we're doing right now. I'm just like, okay, let's
Yeah, but
not
I
get
think
carried.
it's because you just got him, right? So you're just
Yeah,
like
so I'm just
taking it
like,
slow.
yeah. And plus, it's like, let's just enjoy having a good ROAS. Let's scale slowly. Besides,
Yeah, there is diminishing returns when you scale,
yeah.
depending on how you scale. Have you tried
Well-
Google Shopping or no?
Now that's step 2. Because what I usually like to do is I pick one thing. It could be Google ads, Facebook ads, or even SEO. I'll pick the one thing. In his case, it's Facebook ads. Make sure it's working the way we want. then move on to the next one, whatever we decide that next thing is. And then once those two are working, you move on to the third thing. So it'd be like Facebook ads. Once that's working the way you want, you go to Google ads. Once those two are working the way you want, you can do SEO. And after all three of those are working the way you want, you can do, I don't know, maybe email. Point is, you take it one step at a time.
I always
Yeah.
feel like
That's crazy though. Those are like all way different offers and services. But
I
that's
always
awesome that you can provide that.
Yeah, I always feel like I don't know. I feel like SEO should be a priority. Like I feel like it should be SEO, then
I wonder why.
everything else. No, it's for real. Cause like I don't know. I just feel like it. You already know. Like it supports everything else. So
But I think there's like different SEO strategies, right? You could just set your website up to have good SEO, like, set it up optimally, right? Like good on page, whatever, which
Yeah.
is different from like a link building kind of like off page strategy. But I think like, yes, that's a fundamental, like you need, but that's kind of
But
goes
that's-
hand in hand with whoever builds and designs your website.
true.
Right?
And also like I don't like, for example, I don't. Can you partner with college?
And retarget their website traffic.
Ooh.
I hadn't thought too much about doing that. I do know that the cookie cutters are licensed. So obviously he had to get some sort of permission to do that. So if he can do that, I should probably ask him about that next time I meet with him, which is, I think, in another week or so.
Terry always has the good ideas.
Right. So
All right. Thanks for the idea, Terry.
Terry's
What I
our
was gonna-
business coach. by the
yeah,
way.
he is.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, check him out. Go on his website, terryrice.co.
He's got a
Um,
really great group coaching program.
Program,
coming out,
yeah.
Yeah. So
It's important for everyone to check him out. Check him out. Go there now.
Why you do it like that? You're like, yeah. Okay,
That's-
now.
Go, yeah,
Guys,
go
check
there.
out Terry Rice.
So-
He's the real
so-
deal.
He's great.
That's-
He's great.
Honestly,
so
the
on
best
one
investment that
hand-
I've made this year. What were you
Same.
saying?
Yeah. So on one hand, I've got a new client working on that. It's really nice because he's probably the only client I'll have a chance to meet in person because he was a Wazoo student up until recently. And so he's like, yeah, I know,
That's a
but
good
that's what
one.
everyone texts. But
Yeah.
but he has an apartment here. Then he's in Oregon right now, but he's eventually gonna have to come back and get the stuff there. He has a lot of friends here in Pullman. So I'm like, oh, cool. I might actually be able to meet one of my clients in person. I've never gotten to do that before.
Right.
Overrated.
So,
It's overrated.
so I have a gripe.
I disagree.
Wait.
though.
I have a gripe with link building. So I'm gonna ask you guys a question.
Oh God.
Ready?
We're gonna go through an SEO rabbit hole. Terry, tell him he's too in the weeds.
You guys
Tell
ready?
him
You
he's
guys
too in the
ready?
weeds. What's
You
up?
guys ready? Okay. By link building, right?
Yep.
When you do link building, how are you helping people?
Bro, you're asking the wrong person. Like,
Well,
I'm thinking
I
about
think you'd
the
be
actual
helping.
ad.
Wait, what were you gonna say, Nick?
Basically, you're giving them more exposure. And obviously, if you're
How are you helping the audience?
The end user.
Yeah, how are you helping the
the
end user?
people that you
What's an example of
Like-
okay, so
like-
you link build like that's when so an example would be like
Let's say you're doing a guest blog post,
I was gonna say
right?
guest blogging, right? So
Yeah.
guest blogging, you help the end user pretty nicely if you guys have the same end user in mind. Like I have guest blogs in the past,
Well-
and I have clients that do guest blogs, and I think that at the end of the day, it's like the same way that you comment on a YouTube channel, on a YouTube comment, or like me on LinkedIn, I comment on a really great post and I engage on it, and other people are just like, wow, same, I agree, so it connects with more like-minded people. I think if you're at the end of the day, if you're guest blogging, you're adding value to the same end user, right? I don't know.
So here's the thing. When you are link building, right? Like even if you're guest blogging, for example, if you're spending, I don't know, let's say you're sending 300 emails to get one response to post on somebody's website, right? All that time that you just spent, think about what you could have been doing other than just emailing other people like, hey, can you post me on your website? Hey, can you post me on your website? Right? Because the act
Wouldn't
of
you hire
link,
someone to do that though? Like you'd
yeah,
hire, yeah.
but think
Well,
about it like this: the act of actually going out of your way to reach out to other people is not helping anyone, right? Like it's really not.
right.
When
In
you
and of
get
itself.
when you get published, then yeah, it could help somebody if you get published. But think about how long that takes for you to even get published. Like there's people like Neil Patel, Brian Dean, who can like they make these videos. They're like, yeah, go out and ask people for links. But Neil Patel and Brian Dean is Neil Patel and Brian Dean. So they're gonna have a higher open rate when they're sending people emails, right? But like
Everybody would want everybody would want a guest post by them.
right, but Joe Schmo from across the corner, like, like nobody's really gonna care. So the thing is like my gripe with link building, and also like I haven't really done like a link building campaign that's for the purpose of like getting links in like years, right? And the reason why is because like if you just post good content, I promise you, if you post good content, you survey people, you get their opinions on what they want, what they want to hear about, and you get them to you create content that solves a problem for a user and they share it with other people, you'll build links naturally. Like if you build I don't know, let's say you're a personal trainer and fat people want to lose weight, like I need to lose weight. So let's say like you're a personal trainer, you want to lose weight, your target audience wants to lose weight.
Feel
you
attacked.
just
Yeah.
you just, that's why I threw myself in there, don't worry, Nick.
Target people on Facebook interested in Weight Watchers, lookalike audience of that. You could go
Yeah.
go pretty deep.
So
Well,
I'm thinking of things as an advertiser, like I'm
Right,
doing a
so
straight direct to sale.
So the main thing is like if you solve a problem for the person and you build a resource that like there's something called a linkable asset. A linkable asset is something that provides so much value to the extent where people will want to link to you naturally, right? And that's why I don't focus on building. I don't focus my time and my efforts on like reaching out to people unless it's like Harrow or something, because Harrow reaches out to me. They'll send me a message and be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
can you post on this?" Right? But like the best way to really like do that stuff is to just network,
Well, that's
create
how I
good content.
see like
Well-
link building. Link building for me is just like if I'm live streaming with you two, we all have the same. I'm trying to get subscribers, the same subscribers that you have. Like that's how I kind of see link building in a way. I understand that there's so much more like heavy work behind that.
Yeah,
But I
it's
think
crazy.
in theory, it's not necessarily bad. Maybe I think you're going. I think you're
It's-
saying that it's overrated, right?
It's
yeah.
so you need
Overrated.
links. Obviously you need links because links help with your website authority and website ranking, right? But like if you could spend your time, like here's a cool case study. So Michael King, I interviewed Michael King on my YouTube channel, right? Michael King had a team of 100 link builders, right? And he had a team of 10 marketers, right? And they conducted a study to see who would get the most links at the end of the campaign. At the end of the campaign, the 10 marketers, just like Facebook advertisers, PR people, blah 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 blah. The 10 marketers had 11,000 links. The 100 link builders had 3,000 links, right? Why is that? Because they're too focused on, hey, can you please give me a link back to my website? The whole thing is once you're creating
I
good
hate it when
content
I
and you
get those emails and shit.
right, it's annoying.
We all
See,
get those, don't we?
exactly.
How do we get
Exactly.
to links though? I think like that whole thing is just
Well-
like that whole approach is I think just outdated.
Especially-
like, just like it's
Because people
spammy
don't-
and
look at where Google's going right now. There's like natural language processing and the way that the tech, like they have BERT that came out last year or 2 years ago, something like that. But like Google is really getting smart at looking at the content, even the new Google Passages indexing thing that's coming out. Like they're getting really smart at looking at content and understanding what your content is about. When Google is analyzing your pages, they're looking at it from a perspective of what are you saying, what are you mentioning on your page in comparison to that other person ranking, right? And what we're seeing now is that user engagement is becoming more of a thing. How much times are people clicking on your website, right? What are you saying on your website? That is what Google is really looking at. The links and getting, you have internal linking strategy. So that's why it's good to build linkable assets, because when you have linkable assets, you can just take all the authority that you're getting on that one page that's receiving all those links and push it to all your other pages, right? And when you push it to all your other pages, you'll go up in the search results. That's why I don't spend a lot of time like doing link building. I haven't done link building in like actual link building in like 3-4 years. I don't know. It's been a long
Neither.
time.
Me
But
neither.
like, you know what I mean? Like,
Me
like I
neither.
focus on creating the best content. Focus on creating the best
Focus
content. You'll
on
get
selling
links.
shit. I focus
Yeah,
on
like
advertising. I focus on actual marketing.
yeah, like focus
You know?
on exactly. But that's what
I have a
people. That's
question
the
for you.
sure.
If you so Q4, so with advertisers right now, like Facebook advertisers, Google advertisers right now, we're going crazy for Q4. Right now, everyone's buying mindset is everyone is has the intent to buy. So spending is going to go up, things get more competitive. We have to get very creative with our offers, all that stuff. Do you guys feel that heat as SEOs? Do you guys feel the same kind of heat to sell around this time? How does that work?
Nah, I don't really, because at the end of the day, like, so I'm not working with like e-com clients right now, but like, so I can only speak for myself, but I don't feel any heat because it's at the end of the day, it's the same algorithm, right? I mean, there is some things that we need to change. There is some things that we need to adapt. Like my client right now, what they do, they sell like custom mouse models, and that's because they sell like everything is custom for them.
Yeah.
It's kind of like an issue right now, right? Because of what people are looking to buy in the landscape of their market right now. Like everybody is trying to buy COVID mouse models. Like people, that's all people want right now. So that has a huge that has a huge demand. So right now we're focusing on crafting that product for those people and ranking for that. But as far as like from an SEO perspective, I don't feel like we're not really. I mean, it depends on your business, right? It depends on the business that you're working with.
I agree. Yeah, that makes sense. Like this is right now very retail heavy. I think we were talking about this once. I mean, we talk about this all the time. How SEOs and I think very people that are very technical on the back end of PPC, like the very technical guys, they're
Mhm.
not so much thinking about sales. They're not thinking about growing the brand per se. They're not thinking about revenue. They're not thinking about the big picture, and they get caught up in the weeds, which is like focusing on like link building, like hardcore and doing outreach and doing like the technical kind of day to
Yep.
day things. And I think that if so, from our first question, this guy, what did he say? He was just like, yeah, which one's easier to get or which job pays more? There's so many different facets of SEO, right? There's some like
Yeah.
you could just be a content writer, but you're not actually. I think at the end of the day, it's like the impact on the business, which is why I actually prefer PPC. I actually preferred paid because I feel like I'm actually exercising, and I think a good SEO is also doing the same. I'm exercising as a business strategist. I'm exercising as an advertiser. I love the art of marketing. I love advertising, and I think that SEOs, when they do a really great job, they have that in mind too, and they have the same mindset behind like every which lever, because there's so many moving parts with a website and visibility. It's understanding the algorithm, cracking the algorithm, right? And then all these different SEO like tactics in order to rank for certain keywords. And then there's even keyword research, which we do with PPC.
Hmm.
But I feel like it's a little different because now you have to think about, okay, the keywords and then the content that's in there, and like how does that content look like, and like all of that. I'm just thinking of how do I make a really sexy ad that actually convinces someone to buy. And then on top of then if I can't do that, then I'm going with the brand, I'm taking a step backwards. I'm like, okay, how do we position this brand a little bit better in a sea of competitors? How do we refine what are their competitors doing that we're not doing overall? Like maybe there's someone in the market that maybe we have the wrong target market right now. Maybe there's
Yep.
like a lot of gems, or there's a lot of potential revenue in a specific niche and we're going too broad, like.
Yep.
So I'm thinking very like business strategy as an advertiser, whereas I think SEOs have, and also like a lot of PPC people get stuck in the weeds of like, they care so much about just what's going on in the account and not the business as a whole.
100%.
But that, yeah, I think like you get paid more at the end of the day when you think about the impact that you provide to the business. Like I get paid more because I'm thinking about hiring someone like Dre as a consultant for my client so that overall the business grows. Like that's probably why I can charge more. I have the insights and I guess, dare I say, the wisdom
Hmm.
to understand like a business doesn't just rely on just one thing. Like a
100%.
house doesn't just rely on just one like pillar, like you need a lot of bricks there to hold the entire house. You can't. I feel like after a while, SEO is going to do its job and it's going to do a great job, right? But what if you want to take it to another level and another medium? You don't want to just have all your eggs in one basket, especially when the algorithm's changing all the time. And
That's
like
a fact.
and like you said, like the two go hand in hand. They
Mhm.
all go hand in hand. And don't just neglect. It's not just PPC and SEO. It's email.
It's an
It's
email, it's
social.
Facebook, it's
Yeah, it's like
it's a bunch of different things.
this is
Uh,
marketing. Some
Or
will
even
know.
direct mail. That's
right.
Direct
still
And
a
that,
mail,
thing,
yeah. I think
especially if your client, like their target audience is like older people, because they still love their actual physical mail.
facts,
right.
big
Like
facts,
like
big facts.
and that's why like it's so important to think about like you're in like the entire industry, right? Like for example, the whole like the fact that they sell custom mouse models, my client, I've been telling them for a long time, like, hey, we need to get away from just this because at the end of the day, the problem here as well is the fact that this is a variable price. So it's hard to track how much money we're making until like the end of the year. It's really hard, right? And so like it's important to recognize stuff like that because it will help you and also when you see things like other people in their industry, like right now we're profitable with something that's the hardest thing to be profitable with in their industry. So if they were to and that makes them unique, and that's their unique selling point, right? But also understanding that there's not a like the amount where they want to go when they want to get to that next level, in order for them to get to that next level, they're too like niched down. So they need to figure out what
They
are
need
other
to
things that
right.
they need to grow. They
Break
need to
out of
figure
that.
exactly. They need to figure out what is more like what else can we sell, and that's why like adding in those like off the shelf models, animal models are very important because it's more predictable. We know that there's more volume. Also, like people already enjoy our products so much right now. If that was something that we added on, it would be even better. And also because of COVID, like that's a big thing, right? Like people can come to us and get a COVID model,
Mhm.
right? But we would have to make it custom to their needs. Whereas people in their industry they're specifically just looking for that. They don't want to type in or they don't want to look for like a company that's creating custom mouse models. They want to look for a company that's creating mouse models. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right,
And so
right.
that makes it so different in their landscape. So
That's you doing the job of a marketer and not necessarily an SEO. I think a good SEO, a good PPC manager, a good paid media manager, a good strategist in marketing is a good marketer at the end of the day. Like don't
100%.
neglect marketing. Don't neglect our craft. This is our craft at the end of the day. We sell, we work to position our clients in a certain way to gain dominance within their landscape. Do you use SEO as a tool? Like I think people get way too in the weeds when they talk about link building and things like that. It's an important strategy, don't get me wrong, but when you're in the when you're having a business meeting, a meeting with all of
No one cares about it.
it's not that no one necessarily
Like
cares. I think it's
the
important, but
business
it's just
owner.
it's not something that's really moving the needle. Like I think a link building strategy. I think what moves the needle more is getting your offers correct, which is what you work with. An advertiser, a good advertiser is going to like, okay, this is not sexy enough. I do that all the time. Even with Dre, like you're just like, how do you feel about this title? I was like, this is not sexy enough. Like we need to spin this a certain way. Like
Right.
you need, so that's like, this is Mad Men. This is Mad Men
Mhm.
in the 21st century. Well, which wasn't that in the 21st. This is Mad Men in 2020, like we just use different tools now. We use SEO to position your brand in a certain way to get certain visibility. We use paid media. And I think people get so kind of siloed that's where people kind of
Eh,
for lack of a better word, fuck up.
Yep. And that's why I don't exactly for what you just said is the reason why I don't focus on link building, because I know that link building by itself is not just do good marketing. Do good marketing and you'll
Yeah.
get links naturally, right? Like a marketing
That's how you make
strategy.
more money as a marketer.
Exactly.
Be a good
Exactly.
marketer.
Exactly. So it's
You need to know the technicals really well. But like if as a marketing manager, I could always just hire if it was in my budget to hire a good
yeah,
consultant, to just
to just
spin it
do
in
it.
the right direction.
100%.
So I guess there's like different approaches, right? You can really specialize in one area where I feel like I've anchored. So this is my strategy when it comes to like this video, by the way, and subscribe. This is my strategy when it comes to scaling
Yelling at
professionally.
people to like and subscribe is your
Like and
strategy for
subscribe.
scaling.
That's my That's my strategy for scaling. Like and subscribe. Okay, so my
So hire
strategy for
people to stand on street corners yelling at cars to like and subscribe.
facts.
That's
you can. Yes, that's exactly what I'm going to do next. So my strategy for like growing professionally is first anchoring in. So, like for example, let's take Dre, or me, like Dre anchored in SEO, right? You anchor in an SEO, and then from there you kind of branch out, but your anchor, your main anchor where your roots
Is
are is in SEO. And then you touch on like, hey, client, you should use this PPC strategy, blah, blah, blah. Like for me, I'm at a point right now where I'm thinking of upselling email marketing because that goes hand in hand with what we do with
Mhm.
paid media. That's how you increase your lifetime value. That's how you increase, sorry, average order value rather. And even lifetime value when you nurture um past customers and you have
it's
additional
important.
accessories, yeah, you can upsell, you can cross sell. You could do that with advertising, but that costs more, right? So why
Mhm.
not have an organic tool or an organic medium like email or social media to do that legwork. So the two go hand in hand, right? Same with SEO. I think it goes hand in hand with paid. Like it increases your average order value. Like if you have good SEO on your product pages, it increases everything, you know.
Mhm.
It increases your brand. So someone actually asked, so what's more important, link building or growing a brand? I think you're going to know the answer. It's growing the
Yeah,
brands,
growing
right?
a
It's
brand.
using link building to grow the brand along with
Well,
other strategies.
if you grow your brand, you'll get links naturally. Look at Chase Bank. Most of their links that they get is because they have such a large brand, right? So ultimately, it's like that's what you should be trying to do all the time. That is the approach that I try to, that's the approach that I take all the time. It's just how can I grow this brand through multiple tools that we have available to us, right? And
That's the only way
so,
I think. That's just the only way to do it, really.
right.
I think it's so funny. SEOs get so caught up in the technicals, right? Performance marketers are like paid PPC people or Facebook advertisers. They get so caught up in the bottom line that
Mhm,
they neglect the top of the funnel. That's
mhm,
why whenever my positioning point and the way I describe what I do is brand driven performance marketing, you know, where SEO can be too top of funnel. I think that's why me and Dre really relate. And same with Nick. Like we all, because like we think in the middle. Like you can use SEO as like a very top of the funnel tool. You think about content and blah blah blah, link building, blah blah blah, blah. Such a big machine. And then you could think of like Facebook advertising only adding to your bottom line. All you're looking at is purchases, but what is everything that's leading up to the purchase? What does the entire user journey look like? You know, so a
and
lot of
sometimes
people neglect. They go extreme on end to end. It's in the
and
middle.
sometimes right. And sometimes it's even deeper than that. Sometimes there's something internally that's holding your company back from thriving, right? Like one of the things that I saw was poor time management with one of my
Right. This
clients,
is where
right?
your business coach hat comes on.
Right. Like,
Yeah.
so one of the things I noticed was, the way their team is pretty weird, but f- how can I describe this without getting too wordy? Their team is pretty weird. their team is pretty, their team is pretty weird.
They're very
And,
reflective.
and they needed to, it goes back to nurturing leads, because I think one of the biggest problems that most people have is they focus way too much on just the sale in that moment, right? You need
Yeah.
to think about, instead of focusing on the, the, let's say 10% of people that's going to buy from you, focus on the 10%, but also focus on the 90% of people that didn't buy. Because here's the reason why.
Hmm.
If you focus on nurturing the people that didn't buy from you, the good thing is, A, you can get them to buy from you. And B, if they don't buy from you, they'll promote your brand for you. If you're creating good content and you're creating good things that you're showing them, they'll promote it for you. They'll go on the internet and talk about it for you. So I think when you get too caught up in just the 10%, that is where a lot of people kind of lose. And one of the things that we were trying to do is we were trying to figure out, okay, how can we, like, we have all these people buying from us, cool, but like, how can we like get more people? Like, how can we didn't, everybody who was coming to our website obviously wasn't buying from us. So we're like, how can we increase that percentage of people who are buying, right? And it's just nurturing the leads. So that was something that we wanted to do. But one of the major hurdles that we saw was the people who were supposed to do it were like, oh, we don't have time. We don't have time. So then I started thinking to myself, well, how do you not have time? Like, you're not like, this is a very, like, our product is extremely high. So the amount of people that come in through our website, not everyone is making a sale, or like, it's very, like, sometimes it's a very low number of people, but the sale is very high. So I'm
Yeah.
like, well, if you're talking to, I don't know, if you're talking to like, let's say 5 people a day, which sometimes it can be more than that, but let's just say you're
How did
talking to
they?
5 people.
So I just want to make sure I understand. So the issue was they didn't have the time to actually nurture leads on the phone.
No, to nurture leads through like email.
Online? Oh, through
Yeah.
emails. So
That-
why don't you just set up an automated system to do that? Like
So
automate it?
So here's the thing. So that is because the way it works is that they specifically have their own like clients. So they don't want to automate it. Like each sales rep has their own clients and they are directly
Oh,
responsible.
so
Right.
because this is a very high ticket, right? This is very
Yeah.
high
Very high
ticket.
ticket.
So that's literally a salesperson's job to nurture it.
Exactly. So
So if you
that
don't
is
have time to do that, like you can't do your job then? Like
exactly. So that was something that we identified. So I'm like, well, I started measuring. I'm like, okay, we need to start time tracking. Let's see what they're doing. Right.
yeah,
Not in a way to where I'm trying to be mean or like,
micromanaging.
yeah, micromanage, but like you're saying you don't have time and this is not adding up for me. And the
Right.
marketing manager who is the market, she wasn't doing what she had to do. So like I had to
Yeah.
step in. And I'm like, okay, let's see. And then once we identified where the gaps were and we saw how much time they actually had, because by the way, everybody works remote. So when we saw the gaps and where we could fill the gaps and how we can make improvements and stuff like that, we saw an increase in revenue just because of that. You know what I mean? And that
Yeah.
by itself, that time management strategy, implementing that first of all, made them way more aware that okay, I can't BS. I have to really do a good job because
Right. And
before
that actually influences the bottom line, right? So
exactly,
they understand their impact a lot more now, right?
yeah, yeah,
I think that's the same thing with so I teach this to advertisers, and like this is most good advertisers do this anyways. They ask for your closing rate. What's your closing rate? I'm going to send you X amount of leads. Can you close them? And if
right,
so, at what percentage? You need to understand a lot of times it's always a battle between marketers and salespeople, like because I used to have that issue at my old job. I get so many leads, but you can't close them. So let's talk about how we can fix that. Like people get so caught up of wanting to blame the platforms or the person managing the platforms and strategizing behind the platforms. But listen, if you're not recording your sales calls, there's a problem. Like even I record my sales calls. If you're not recording your sales calls and you don't know your close rate, you need to what you measure, you manage. You're clearly not managing that effectively. So I think that like that's just you being a good problem solver. Because at the end of the day, I think that's what both of us do with both of our coaching
yeah,
programs. Like we both try to. The goal is to create the next generation's just extremely awesome problem solvers. I
yep,
feel like I can get in there. I don't know SEO, but I managed an SEO team. Like I could just figure it out. I'm not thinking SEO. I'm thinking obviously about the business. So I'm just like, okay, how can you speed that up? Like, how can I
hmm
help you improve? Blah, blah, blah. How can I get you the tools that you need? Blah, blah, blah. So I'm just thinking like, I also think about that with all of my clients. Like, for example, with one of my clients, I have to help them with project management because it
right,
clearly organization is an issue, which is if you don't have systems, you fail. Like that, a business is literally built on systems. So if you don't have marketing systems, I'm obviously coming in as a consultant. I see things out from one perspective. I'm managing all of our paid media efforts, but if you don't have a system where it's organized, like you don't have a content batching so that we can use not just for organic, not just for our website, but for advertising. More importantly, you don't have a system where you're going to, create a certain amount of content, X amount of days. You're not organizing that efficiently. Like some things need to be worked on, like you don't have a promotional strategy, like your entire marketing team doesn't have that laid out. Okay, so I just jump in, like it's just a matter of taking initiative. And I feel like just to tie this all like into one, or to just go full circle, that's how you get paid more at the end of the day. You're actually
facts,
solving business problems.
yeah, be a bit
Someone
like manage the business. Don't just manage SEO because
yeah.
if you honestly like, and honestly like that's the one thing I could never understand though is how people don't understand that though,
I
right?
don't get it, but we can only spend so much time on dumb people. I say that with all the love in my heart. There's not much there. In the marketing aspect. I need to chill. I need to chill. Terry actually
All
told me
right, I
this
got
once.
this.
He's like,
I got this. In the
wait,
marketing,
no. Let me read it. Why do you new businesses and startups fail, and how can they avoid failing? I think Nick said it correctly. That's a topic that deserves its own
yeah.
live stream. How
Word.
like there's so many areas in which
Yeah,
a business
ways that
fail.
they could
They don't
fail. Yeah.
build systems. Like I think what are like some of the common ones that you see?
I
I have a
think
couple. I have a couple. Top three. Top. Keep it to two.
I think
Keep
poor
it to two.
budget allocation. To be
One.
honest, I
Mhm.
think systems.
And
I
systems.
think yeah, and I
One
think
more. You get one more.
I honestly think like poor sales. Like if you don't understand how to sell your product, then what are you doing?
I think for me, it's where because I've seen a lot of e-commerce businesses come and go because Shopify. I mean, anyone can have a Shopify account. Drop shipping, anyone can drop ship.
And that's the problem.
It's not necessarily a problem. In fact, it's just like the winners. I mean, there's just the people that build a brand win. So think they don't. Businesses fail when they don't think long term. Businesses fail when they're not building a brand, and businesses fail when they have a shitty product with poor market fit. Like that's what
Yeah.
I see. Like a lot of people don't differentiate enough. And you can differentiate through branding, but there's I think it's a stronger it's stronger you build stronger demand when you actually service an actual problem within society. And I see this time I've saw it so many times with all the products that would come into Damon's office and that he would invest in or that he would look at, like the ones that failed didn't solve a real problem in society. They didn't solve a real problem. They were more novelty. Like Scrub Daddy was one of the most popular products in Shark Tank that I don't know the numbers, but Damon screwed up by not investing in that one. But that's okay because in the office there was like literally Scrub Daddies everywhere and all the different variations of Scrub Daddies. Like my grandma has like 15. So they won because no one else did that. Like at that price point, at that price point, like it's actually really effective when like I mean, I guess I don't know it that industry too well, but it had both sides. It was really cheap. It was just it served its purpose really well. And it had a good brand behind it. And like it had all the winning, like it checked off everywhere. Good product market fit, good branding, good investors, boom. Good exposure, good marketing. That's why it won.
So
Oh, say your piece.
um I was gonna ask
I just spilled mad water.
of
Sorry.
the products that you guys launched with Damon John and stuff, the ones that failed, did they have competitors that succeeded? Which there probably was, but
Yeah, I can tell you an
it,
example. Sorry.
and why do you think they succeeded over you guys?
I can tell you an example. Is that me?
Mhm. Definitely Nick.
Sorry,
No,
no,
I'm
that
just
is
blaming
me.
you.
Technical difficulties. Can you hear that? Can you guys hear that?
Yeah, we can.
Jesus Christ. Okay, hold on. All right, sorry about that. Okay, so question was which one of like
Of the
Shark Tank as a whole, or just Damon's products?
either or doesn't matter.
Again, okay. So out of all the Shark Tank products, how do I make that never happen again?
You can mute them for like an hour.
Okay. So out of all of Damon's products, or just Shark Tank as a whole, the ones that have won, specifically for him, it was Moe's Bows. It was this little boy that came on, and he had he basically sold these bow ties. And I guess no one in the industry had his type of creative or his designs. Fashion
Mhm,
is incredibly competitive, right?
mhm.
So the reason why he won was I think like his brand, the fact that he was such a sweet and cute little kid. He got backed up with Damon. Damon had all the deals with the best manufacturers and hooked him up really nicely and also mentored him. Um, what else? So good branding, good leadership, um, good good business practices, and longevity, I guess. But overall, I guess the biggest product was just Scrub Daddy, as we talked about. Like Scrub Daddy was the biggest one, I think, out of all Shark Tank products. The
Mhm.
reason why it existed is the reason why it won is because all of the products checked off. However, I recently was working with a client who had a product that was featured on Shark Tank, and they failed. And the reason why they failed, at least with advertising at the time, is because of all of these copycat competitors. There were so many copycat competitors that did the same thing that they did, which was I'm not gonna say the brand, but it was
Yeah.
I think I told you it was like a reusable
Yeah, you told
straw,
me.
like a retractable straw. And the reason it was just simply because all of these knockoff competitors that could get it even cheaper and sell it even cheaper. Um, that's kind of capitalism, though.
Yeah.
They did really well at that one time, and they caught on a train, but it became a novelty because so many different people copied them. However, they pivoted.
Oh God, now what? Keep it together, people.
However, they pivoted and they now sell like a spork. So they have different products now. They like diversified their products and use
Yeah.
the same tactics for one for the other. So I think there's still a way to win, but the reason why people lose is because not enough product differentiation. Not enough. The positioning is not good. The it's just, I don't know. They had good branding. It was just like too many copycats that could sell it for half the price. That's kind.
Yeah.
Look at Blockbusters and Netflix.
Yeah.
A moment of silence for Blockbuster.
Was Blockbusters a bad brand? No, it just
But the problem
came
that
out even better.
They made a ton of horrible business decisions near the end, though.
yeah, and I think the product that Netflix has obviously is way better. Like, get all this stuff from your phone, right? Like, in a world where everybody's digital, it just makes sense. But I think
Even Netflix, though. Do any of you guys have HBO Max?
I do.
no, I don't.
I do.
Okay. What do you think about the
Done?
selection? No. The opposite, actually.
Oh, okay.
The other thing I've noticed is people who are on the top of an industry, they rarely stay on the top forever, because Netflix won the war for a while, because Netflix was associated with streaming for a long time. You had a little bit of like Amazon Prime, but more recently, what I've seen is HBO Max. And I think one thing that HBO Max, I know this is subjective, but one thing HBO Max, from what I've seen, is really good at beating Netflix and Amazon Prime on is their selection.
Yeah,
'Cause
the
HBO
content. They
yeah,
focus on the content.
Well, not
That's
necessarily
why
the
Quibi
content,
failed.
the selection. The
Mm.
selection. It's like,
Just the
because
content.
Netflix, up until relatively recently, Netflix did not make their own stuff. They had to get like, movie rights and stuff to
Right.
other people.
Right.
Now, Amazon Prime did that for a while too, but now the new deal is to have original series.
Totally.
The thing is that HBO comes in. HBO has been making its own shit for years at this point.
Yeah.
And so what they did.
Wait, I'm gonna let you finish. I just want to say one thing. Yo, Brad Smith, are you bored, bro? All right,
Seems like
go
it.
ahead. Like, I think this dude is bored. All right, go ahead.
We have a right to be bored, Dresean, okay?
We have a right to try and not be
All
bored,
bored
which is obviously
lives
what he's
matter.
doing here.
Wait, so Nick, I think I get what you're saying. You're
It's
saying
the
basically
selection.
right. So
They
this is
understand,
why,
they understand two things. HBO understands two things. One, the real way to win the streaming wars, if you want to call it that, is
Okay.
the selection.
Exactly.
Two, up until recently, Netflix and Amazon Prime haven't had a lot of their original stuff. HBO, on the other hand, has been around forever and has had their own stuff forever. So not only can they do the same things that Netflix can, like have other people agree to have it stream on their platform, but they also have access to every single HBO thing.
So you're
ever.
basically pointing at original content and curation, right?
Not necessarily that, it's knowing how to use what you already have. I guess to give
Okay.
my spin on it, the biggest reason I've seen the businesses fail, it's three basic things. One is no market demand. They're not offering something that people or enough people want. Two, bad management. And, just
more.
not. And the third one is, this is the most important. The business owners or the management are stubborn as hell. So they're not willing to pivot to something people actually want or listen to any experts that say, hey, you need to make these changes.
Okay. So being not being adaptable to change, right?
Yeah.
That's what you're saying. I agree. I think that's like a really big everyone, especially COVID-19, has taught us that the real winners, like I feel like I think it's 3x, 5x my business, my revenue, just by pivoting. So if you can't pivot fast, if you can't act quickly, like someone's just
You're
gonna eat
lost.
you
Or
up.
at all.
Competition's gonna if you can't pivot, just competition's gonna eat you up alive. But I did want to say something. You talked about HBO Max. Like the reason why HBO Max is winning, and you guys heard about Quibi, right?
Barely. Is that the
Quibi.
one where that's like the
I don't
big
know
thing is
any of
that
this.
Oh
everything's
my
like
god,
10
you don't know about
minutes?
Quibi? Okay, so yeah,
Quibbly?
quick bites.
I thought it was
Quick
Quibbly.
bites. Quibi.
Yeah.
No, it's Quibi.
Yeah.
Short for quick bites. So Quibi had let me bring up the numbers.
What is Quibi?
Quibi, the numbers
It's
invested
apparently
in
a
Quibi's, it's basically a mobile first platform, video platform, and there were so many original content creators or original whatever people on there. So they got like Kevin Hart. I remember because Andy, my boyfriend, works with Dapper Dan, so Dapper Dan had some kind of deal there. Like all The Rock, like all of these big names were on there. And had original shows on there. However, Quibi kept focusing more on the features and not so much on like the content that they provide. And I think
what
that's where
people
they failed.
want.
Exactly, that's where they failed marketing wise. They didn't talk about all of the cool, like the actual shows. They kept focusing on the fact that this is made for your phone. It's really cool. Like you watch it as you go. And so much investor money was dumped into that. I think like
It's
let me
like
bring up the
10
numbers.
minutes. That's the big thing. Like I think Quibi is
Quibi
as if I
money
remember
invested.
correctly, Quibi is like some really obscure slang term that just means like just for a little bit. And
Yeah,
so
it
that's
stands
as
for
I
quick
understand it,
bites.
that was
It
the
stands for quick
USP.
bites. It stands
Yeah,
for
when
quick
it was
bites.
just like
Exactly. So they focus so much on the features and not on the content. So Quibi ranked in 1.75 billion in funding in 2 rounds. Isn't that crazy?
Jesus.
Quibi is shut down after raising 1.75 billion in funding.
And how
All
long
that money.
How long was
You
it
know what
around?
I could have done with that money?
Wait, so like I'm lost. So Quibi is a competitor of like Netflix and HBO Max,
Basically,
or
yeah, it's an original
Kinda,
streaming
yeah.
service. Yeah, it's like
So-
basically an
That
app.
focuses
And
on really short content.
yeah, so
Okay.
mobile first. Like their thing was like mobile first, like created just for your phone, like vertical, like literally shot and edited in that way. So I think it was like 5 to 10 minutes or maybe even less of just quick content that you could just scroll through like that.
Like
Okay.
how is that
Um,
different from YouTube? If you want short
That's
content, you can
that's what I told
find
Andy.
plenty
I
of
was
that.
just like, but they, like they were able to sell that and get investors and they failed.
Well, how
then-
how
then
long
the
did it take
owner-
for them to fail?
It was released like earlier this year. Like it took
And it's already
they
dead.
already shut down. Yeah.
I never even heard of it.
They blamed it on
So now-
COVID-19. So now like this was like
Oh
this is
no.
huge. This
You
was
don't get
huge.
to blame COVID-19 for shit
Exactly. I
like
was
that.
like, how can you blame COVID-19 if every other streaming service like quadrupled? Like look, Disney Plus.
If you're in the
like,
streaming service, you should be exploding right now. Because what are
Big
people
facts,
doing
big
when they're
facts.
bored and when they have more free time? And oh wait, I remember I think it's Apple that
But do
did
you guys
this.
think that that's actually like a good idea?
no,
No,
I don't think
not
so.
on
It's
its
Oh.
stupid.
own.
I
Not
literally
on
thought
its
it was stupid. I
own.
was like, this is dumb.
That's retarded. That's retarded. Like,
Did you see
I was working with someone who was trying to get their show featured there, and I was like,
really? Okay, did you see the one? I think Apple's doing this, but its new thing is vertical cinema.
oh god.
I'm just like, it's the same thing. At least they can rely on the other shit that Apple's been doing, but it's like you're focusing too much on one thing for the sake of that one thing. Like you're focusing on making a big deal out of the fact that it's quick, not the fact that it's good.
Yeah,
Same
you focus
deal
on the
with vertical
features and not the
cinema.
yeah, exactly. So I
I'm
think
just
that
like,
they
I don't
should
give a
learn
shit
from
about vertical
Quibi.
cinema. If is
They
it good?
They should learn from Quibi because Quibi tried to do the same thing. They should learn from Quibi and focus more on the content and like the
Yeah.
actual end user and what they like. Someone asked, would each of you say what would each of you say are the biggest myths of digital marketing? I don't know. What are some myths?
I don't know.
Not exactly a myth because no one actually says it, but it's
So
implied.
then it's not
One,
myth.
most people, it's implied. It's like it's what everybody believes that
Okay, what is it?
one, most people in digital marketing know what they're doing.
No one knows what they're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I know.
This industry changes so fast, but I mean,
Well, everyone
there's
assumes
there's
if
a
you do this
nuance to
for a
that,
living, you
though.
know what you're doing.
Well, here's the thing. Because I understand Google Ads very well and I understand Facebook ads very well, chances of me understanding Snapchat, like, I
Pretty
would
high.
have gotten way faster. So sure, I don't know it per se, but I could figure it out a lot easier because I'm immersed in there. You know, like a lot of times I think we discredit people in digital marketing, discredit like the OGs, like David Ogilvy, when the reality they know how to sell way better than we do. We just don't understand the platforms, but I admire them more, if anything. You know, like people say it is true, like 2 years in this industry probably matters a little bit more on the technical side. But when it comes to actual fundamentals, business knowledge, marketing, understanding markets in general, like the OGs really had it down pat.
They have it.
Like there's everything to learn from them. So I think like a big common misconception is that like digital marketing is like it's very like it's so new. It's marketing.
In the
Which
21st century.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
marketing. It
It's the
hasn't
same
changed.
thing.
We're trying to sell to people. It's just some people get very caught up in like index passages and shit like that.
Right.
But that's
The
not
sec-
that's not what marketing is, you know? It's marketing.
Yeah. The second thing, what I've heard is like marketing is how you get people interested in something. And I'm just like, no, it's how you find people who are already interested in something and then just kind of nurture that. Because at the end of the day, a marketer still can't create something from nothing.
Oh yeah, I can't market a bad product, you know?
Or at least
Is
a
that what you're trying to
product
say?
to the wrong audience.
But
Yeah.
It's
our
like
job in marketing is to get to the right person, the right time, right messaging, right?
Right.
it's like yeah,
And
it's like you can't make people interested in something. You can find people who are already interested in something in the case of Google Ads, or find people who are likely to be interested in that thing,
At the end of the
with
day, you just
Facebook
can't
ads.
market a bad product. It can't market a product that's bad.
Yeah,
It's
because
impossible.
I could because the way I feel about that is like I could not know of like for example, what's it called, Quibi, right?
Maybe, yeah. Yep.
Okay, and like let's say it was a good product, right? And I didn't know what it was. If I see a marketing ad and I see like if and I'm like, oh, that looks like a pretty cool thing, you can make me interested in it, right? But if I didn't know about it before, I'm not gonna be interested, right? So
Yeah.
my thing is that you can use I feel like you can use marketing to make people interested in what you're selling if there is a need and that person doesn't know about it. And then all of a sudden you're in their face like, hey, look, we have this wonderful product that you can use for blah, 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 blah. Right. Because I mean, not everyone knows every single product that exists. You know what I mean? Obviously, it's better you want to target people who have an understanding of what it is that you're selling and blah 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 because you'll get higher conversion rates, but there's no reason why you can't make somebody interested in something.
100%. I agree. Well, yeah. I think I mean, yeah, there's always nuances to everything, right? But
Right,
yeah.
it depends on the product, depends on
Yeah.
what you're selling, it depends on
Yeah.
what that person is into, but like
Landscape, like
yeah,
I tell this all the time, everything that you've tested in so Nick, you're an advertiser and so are you, Dre. So everything you've tested, all your marketing test strategies that you tested in Q1, retest them again, even though they failed, retest them again in Q4. There's a ton of audiences that I'm currently testing now for all of my clients that we previously did. It didn't work out too well, but we're testing them again because people's buying mindsets, people's mindsets
change.
are more shifted towards buying right now. That's
Hmm.
why I think that now more than ever, a lot of people are saying like, oh, rising CPMs. Oh, should I even advertise? Yes, because with rising CPMs, I kind of spewed this on my last live stream, with rising CPMs come higher conversion rates. So if your CPMs are like 20% higher, but your conversion rates are like 40% higher, you know, that's a win. Like there's leverage there, you know?
Yep.
So I think that everyone should be advertising right now. Absolutely.
Right. And honestly, like as search demand increases, you know what? Actually, like thinking about it that way now, and thinking about even though I'm not like working with e-commerce, but if you think about it,
You kind
as
of are.
search the,
Yeah.
not really.
Consulting.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, you're
um,
consulting.
but But thinking about it now, like as search demand increases for something, right?
Yep.
Like you said, more people now are going to be buying online than ever before. So you
Yeah.
should
I
be,
think
you
there's
should be
more.
like, honestly, you should be doing everything that's going to get you on every single search engine, in my opinion. I think a lot of people prioritize just Google, but they don't realize that there's still like
Yelp.
probably like you know Bing. Like Bing has like 200 billion
Ah,
searches a year or something like that.
don't
That's
get me
still
started on Bing though.
you know what I mean. Like that's still for SEO. That's still a good medium that you could target. You know, especially since you got to think about it like this too. More people that are shopping online now in this time are going to be older. And most people that are on Bing are older. And the reason why is because they don't know how to install Google Chrome on their website. I mean,
It
on
goes
their
straight to Bing. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Same with
you know what I
Yahoo
mean?
Gemini. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's something to also keep in mind as well.
Yeah, there's always yeah, you have to understand like who's on each platform. Like I'm not going to advertise from one of my clients who sells ballistic helmets on Pinterest. Their entire demographic is dudes that have some kind of military
Yeah.
background and admire the military in some kind of way. I'm not going to advertise on
Yeah,
Pinterest, you
that's
know, like
dumb.
Yeah. You have to
that doesn't.
understand why people use certain search engines.
Yeah, same with Snap. Like if it's an older, like if you do really well on Bing, I don't know if you're going to do so great on Snap. Like it's a younger demo. Someone asked, I'm not gonna go there.
What?
Do you need big marketing budget to start a startup? Dre and I have a startup. No,
Yeah, no.
technically we do. Like
It,
it depends on
and it all depends what you're trying to do.
It's
Yeah,
easier to start with a service based business though, like with
exactly.
e-commerce and product. You do need a lot of capital initially. Like you need to invest a
Yeah.
lot in inventory.
If you're doing
But a
services,
service base,
you can go from like 0 to like 10K like tomorrow, right? You can sign on a client that's going to pay you 10K tomorrow and boom,
yep.
you're making good money. So like,
Wait,
yeah.
I was gonna say, guys, like, subscribe. I see
There's
my
there's
subscribers have not
Cynthia's
increased.
scaling strategy right
My
there.
scaling strategy is me being a marketer. Please subscribe, please like. Support my low self-esteem. I really appreciate it. Do you need an online
Honesty.
presence? I don't have low self-esteem, not anymore. Do you need an online presence such as YouTube? What are you trying to do? I don't know.
Yeah. What are you trying to do?
Yeah, what are you trying to do?
And why do you want to do it?
Cuz I mean, our business coach Terry is watching. This dude works with like all of the biggest companies in the world
Yeah.
and he has like
It's not-
30 something subscribers on YouTube, if that, or not. Wait, is it less than that? Sorry, Terry, I'm roasting you real quick, but but yeah, no. So it depends on what you're trying to do. Like, what are you trying to do? Who are you trying to get in front of? Remember, like your whole goal. There's like billions of people in this world. You don't need to help everyone. You just need to help a couple people that will value what you do. That's
yeah,
it.
Damon
Really.
wasn't on YouTube. I mean, he started getting bigger on YouTube this year, but he's only has 15,000 subscribers. But before then, like YouTube wasn't even like as the marketing manager, YouTube wasn't really a main focus of ours because it wasn't a huge revenue driver. We were focusing more on digital products.
YouTube is more of a top of a funnel thing.
Yeah,
if
it's more for
that.
brand awareness.
Yeah. Well, it can lead to direct sales depending on your
It can.
offer, which is why your offer is extremely important. Or how you position your offer, how you position yourself as well. Speaking of which, subscribe and like. Go to my website.
And hit
CynthiaMarketing.com.
You should get you should get a soundboard where you say
a,
that and then you add the air horns like yes.
Yeah.
You do that at just random intervals or like every
Brooklyn,
5 minutes.
where you at?
Pew, pew, pew.
Toby Hanna, where are you from? Where you live right now? Pennsylvania, where you at?
Yo, another thing that's interesting as well, guys, is that sometimes as a consultant, right? I mean, all the time as a consultant, what you should be doing, and we kind of touched on this a little bit, but one of the things that I noticed with one of my clients is that I'm only working with like one consulting client right now, but one of my clients I'm consulting with, I noticed that they get way more like sales from like offline deals, right? So sometimes your strategy isn't even going to be better as a digital strategy.
Are they
You need
B2B?
yes.
Okay, so that's why.
Yeah. So it's
I do
important.
D2C.
Yeah, they're B2B. So it's important to understand, like, even that, like, sometimes digital ain't going to be the best thing to do, right? So in their specific scenario, what we noticed is that, like, we were looking at, like, revenue spikes from last year, and we're trying to figure out, okay, why did this thing happen, right? I can hear myself echoing.
I
No, that
heard you
was that
too.
was
That
me.
was
Sorry.
wow, Nick.
I
He
get
was
it.
going into a really great point just now. Wow.
It's
Yeah, so
too fire. I had to hit the brakes.
Continue.
we noticed a spike in revenue, and like, we were looking at the last year data, and we were trying to figure out why was this month so great. And we noticed that it was because we partnered with a university and sold them like a bundle, a package deal. And we noticed that throughout the years, we looked back like 5 years or so, throughout the years, every time we did really, really well, we always were able to sell like packages to these schools. And because we noticed that, we were like, yo, this is going to be the main driver. Like, this is what we need to prioritize, right?
Yeah.
And it's not hard to get those deals because we have direct connections to those people, because they
Yeah.
bought from us before. We know how
Right.
to reach out to them, we know how to get in contact with them. So that was something that we realized, and was just like, yo, this is the strategy that we need to focus on, because this is what's going to be best for the business. But also, we didn't forget about everything else, right? It's
Right.
everything as a combination. But sometimes you need to step away from digital, right?
Yeah, I think it also depends on like your business model. Like Dre was
Yep.
just talking about a very B2B strategy versus D2C. I'm very direct to consumer, so online is actually very crucial. Unless you're just going direct like warehouse, which is you would be B2B, but D2C, I think online is actually should absolutely be a strong part of your overall marketing efforts for sure. I mean, if your competitors are doing, why aren't you? Like
Yeah.
that's usually the like with the whole argument with like increased CPMs and how everyone's whining about it, including myself. So with increased CPMs, if your CPM is like $50 and you're in the beauty industry, like there's a reason why advertisers are still doing it. Like ask yourself why. And there's breadcrumbs to everything. There's a reason for everything, right? They obviously know how much it's profitable for them to acquire a customer. Maybe they have some other like marketing efforts, like email, to help them lift all of their paid media traffic and to leverage that and to squeeze every dollar out of that. So you just have to figure out, like, if your other big advertisers are doing it, or not necessarily big advertisers or bigger competitors are doing it, there's a reason why.
Right. But also, if you see data like that, for whatever reason, that your specific audience just likes to buy from you offline in general, and you're making more there, then it's also good to follow data, even though in most cases that's not going to happen in, like, with the companies that you're working with. But
Yeah.
if you ever see that, it's just, it's like prioritizing based off of data.
What works actually for me, for example, one thing that I make a point of and I try to do is actually, so this is like an offline networking effort. It's weird, but it's like a direct to sale applied to me. I try to write handwritten letters to people as a thank you and then send a gift, like a thank you, like that. Even though I didn't exactly do that for you, Dre, but I try to do something that's personalized.
Yeah.
It's a networking thing to solidify my relationships, because at the end of the day, my relationships are very dependent on, like, my livelihood is dependent on my relationships. So I try to do that. I have to send one to my ex-boss, Isaac Rudansky. He sent a client my way, so I have to hook him up. But like that, just like offline strategy. So that could be a great. So when all of the brands around you are zigging, you should zag. Like, what can you do that's differently? Like my friend who manages, he's like the CMO for a CBD company. He tested direct mail, and that's performing really well, along with certain, like, you have to be very specific with the kind of strategies that you use online with CBD, and like the way you position the product. Like, you can only call it hemp, like things like that, and you have to be really, really particular. So even though those avenues aren't super like applicable from that, he tried direct mail and boom, like, yeah. So offline, like, just be different. Like,
See
what
what
to be
works.
different?
Yeah.
Yeah,
See
test,
what works.
test. If
Test.
you're a real
Be a
marketer, you
marketer.
test.
Just test. Yeah. Now,
What's the worst thing
yep.
each of you blow a lot of money on?
Wait. I want to say something real quick. So, Brad, I'm not
Yo.
saying that you're asking dumb questions, bro. I'm just saying you're bored. That's it. Um, that's it, man. I'm not saying that it's a dumb
I
question, bro.
appreciate everyone's engagement in the chat. Thank you.
Exactly, 100%. Um, what's the worst
What's the
thing?
worst thing that each of you blow a lot of money? I want to hear Nick's.
Radio.
Dumb
What's it called?
No, it is not ham radio.
hentai.
Jeez, Sin.
I was kidding.
No, we
Nick
love
is
you, Nick. We love you.
tight. Nick is pissed. It was a
No,
joke. It
I
was a
am not
joke.
pissed. I'm
I don't
amused.
I think that's free anyways, but continue. What is it? What is it?
It depends on if you're smart about it, but
I knew you would know that. So what were you gonna say? I've been
It was-
things.
well, I don't spend a lot of money on it now, but what I used to blow a lot of money on were these really obscure courses that I would see Facebook ads for, especially
Oh, God,
about 2
same.
years ago. It was like, here's the thing. When I was starting out, I was realizing that a lot of people don't know what they're doing in the digital marketing industry, mostly because of the fact that a lot of people aren't really marketers. They're Google ads technicians, Facebook ads technicians, or, whatever have you. And so what I wasn't really looking for that. I was looking for like, what do some people know that I don't? So this was things like, one was called Pure Pixel Blueprint and stuff like that. Yeah, I know.
Jeez.
But here's the thing. Luckily, it wasn't as expensive as the courses you see CoffeeZilla shit on, rightfully so. It was like just
I think
barely.
that dude goes a little bit hard. He goes too hard.
Yeah.
I think
Like
he
he
does
did one
too.
on Kevin O'Leary. Like Kevin O'Leary does not he makes so much money. He just doesn't even care. Also, Kevin O'Leary is actually a great guy.
That's what
Just- He's not a
they-
guru. Like
they
he's
call
just
him-
Kevin O'Leary. Like he's a
they call him-
multi-millionaire. Like he's Kevin O'Leary. He's an actual great investor and businessman.
they called him Mr. Wonderful for a reason, I'm sure. But it
That's
was
just
some
like
of
a
these.
persona.
It was some of these courses. My dumbest pain point was like a really obscure thing that I didn't know. I thought it was some sort of thing with the pixel. There was something with for a while it was tracking codes. But things like that was the most embarrassing thing that I've ever spent money on.
Tracking codes? What about you, Dre?
You don't know what you don't know.
The
This is
things-
my only defense.
Nah,
Yeah.
I feel that.
No, I feel that like with the copy, and they're always just like, you gotta know this one thing if you want to make $1 million. Like, yeah, I get it. I fall in that trap.
I don't really spend a lot of money, to be honest. I mean, I spent money.
Nothing wrong
Like I
with
spent,
that.
I spent $700 on this mic, but like it wasn't a dumb investment. Like it's an investment in my setup, which is my part of my business.
Your
So like,
plans, yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I don't really invest
Same.
money on stupid stuff. Like the most that I'll invest money on is food, for real. Like, and that's not
Same.
stupid. You need that to live. That's the thing too. Like,
I
you know, it's
What were
when
you
I was
saying?
younger, I used to spend a lot of money on like, going out and partying and stuff of that nature. And then I was broke and I realized like, wait, I need to stop doing that. And I got really good at saving. I got really good at not spending money. You know what I mean? But also it's like I don't even think about it no more. Like
Yeah.
it's just natural for me. Like I just
Yeah.
don't spend a lot. And when I do spend a lot, I mean, I'll go all out. You know what I mean? Like if I'm spending a lot of money, I'll go in. But for the most part,
Same.
I don't find myself spending a lot of money on stupid stuff.
I don't think it's like it depends on what you consider stupid. For me, like I spend a lot of money on my friends. I spend a lot of money on my family. I send money to my family. I don't think it's stupid. I think for me it's like my duty. It's fun, if anything. I used to spend a lot of money on dumb things. I bought a car. Which is right now it's like actually I got it at a really great deal. I would buy like watches, like things that really didn't matter at all. Like now everything I invest in, I consider everything I buy an investment. I spend a
Same.
lot of money these days on equipment. I spend a lot of money these days on courses. I spend a lot of money these days on hiring people. All the majority of my money comes to like the contractors and the people that I have on my staff. Um, that's where a lot of my money goes to, honestly. And I rather like that's just me making business investment.
Right.
I invest in I dabble in stocks a little bit.
Yeah. Actually, that's a good point. Yeah, because I'm the
I like
same way.
spending
Like
money on my friends and family. Like I don't consider that like a bad
that's
thing.
not dumb, you know?
No.
Like I invest all my money into like things that I know that's gonna pay me back. Like I'll invest money into affiliate stuff, or I'll invest money into courses, or I'll invest money into
Yeah.
coaching or something like that. But
Yeah, that's the most amount of money like coaching, but that to
yeah,
me isn't dumb. Like I put a lot of money. That's the thing, like that's the difference between me, Dre, and maybe Nick and like versus other people that stay stagnant. Like I'm not afraid to drop like 10 G's on something if I
facts.
feel if I mean obviously I'm going to do my research, I'm going to do my homework. Um but if I know for sure that it's going to help me grow and it's going to make me uncomfortable, I'm going to do it for sure. I'm not afraid to make that
Yeah,
investment.
yeah, and I think that that's what you kind of have to do in order to, yeah, like you said, to grow. Really, just to hit your point for our new prep. We don't.
I'm not talking about
I'm talking.
politics.
Yeah, I'm not
I'm
talking about
very
Eh,
politics
happy
right now.
with
no,
our
Yeah.
with not happy necessarily with who we have, but who we no longer have.
I'm just along for the ride.
Hey, Stephanie,
Me
welcome to
too.
the stream.
Yeah, Stephanie, subscribe, please. I need
That scaling
subscribers.
strategy at
I
work.
have 83 subscribers. Let's kick it up to 84. Maybe I need to refresh this shit.
Actually, you
Has
have
it
more than
changed?
83. You have
Has
80,
it
80.
changed?
Yeah, you have
Oh,
88.
it's increased.
Yep.
I have 89. Thanks, guys. Oh, I love you so much. Oh, as a thank you, let me give you advice. Let me give you career advice. I've been there and done that. Probably. I think so. Most things. We've had a crazy life, Dre and I, and also
Word.
Nick. Ups and downs, you know.
Crazy is
Thank
one
you,
way to put it.
Stephanie. Thank you. You're the best. You're amazing.
I think
Thank you.
I think
What's the best career advice you can give like an up and coming marketer, Dre?
the best advice I would give an up and coming marketer, honestly, is to not take everything at face value that you see, and to, like, if you want to learn something, it's cool to get information from people, but you should always test it and see if it works. Like, in my opinion, I think that's why I got kind of far, because I was able to read certain things, read certain blogs, like, do all this stuff, and then just test on my own to say, okay, does this actually work? And if it works, why is it working? So I think understanding the why behind you do things
Mm,
will help you level up. Like, don't just think about, okay, yeah, Neil Patel told me to go do keyword research. Neil Patel told me to go do link building. That's why I have a whole different opinion on link building. That's why I don't link build, because like
yeah.
I tried everything around it. I tried link building. I tried everything. And I'm like, okay, well, I get results like this. And this actually leads to a higher ROI for my clients. So my best advice is just like, be a tester, because when you're a marketer, that's what you are really. And you'll be able to get further when you can form your own conclusions. When you have
Yes.
your own like, when you know the why behind everything. I think that's the most important thing.
Perfect. Have your intent on point. I think for me, the biggest thing is lead with curiosity and lead with passion. When you're first starting off, I have this a lot with like my coaching clients. They get so caught up with I need to do it this way. You know, like they get so caught up with like taking like standardized schooling and trying to impose it onto their career and what they're learning, when at the end of the day it's like you should be led by trying to solve a problem. How do you solve a problem? Lead by curiosity, not just like, hey, I read this that Billie Jean says I have to do X, Y, and Z. Well,
Oh
does X,
God.
Y, and Z make sense? You know, like maybe, you know, like everyone. I have my go-to kind of what are the formulas? I have my go-to, I guess, like strategies or frameworks. I call them frameworks, right? Frameworks. I have my go-to frameworks, but they don't always apply to every problem. So lead with curiosity. Try to solve a problem. When you're going to account, ask yourself questions. You know what so first look at spend, like, you know, break down based on spend. Which campaign is spending more? Why is it spending more? Maybe I should ask client this. You know, write that down. Okay, what are they targeting? Oh, wow, a lot of targeting, a lot of spend is going here. Why are they doing that? Oh, okay. Go down like, oh, these are the ads that they're testing. Wow, why aren't they doing that? Like why oh my god, why aren't they, based on the search terms report, we're spending so much money on this. Like ask questions as you go through an account. Ask questions, period. Be curious. Don't and along with Dre, like when you lead with curiosity, you're not afraid to test.
Facts.
The marketers that aren't afraid to test are the marketers that win. They have balls, they have chutzpah, you know?
Right. And also like what you said was golden, like really asking the client too, because at the end of the day, the client is the expert when it comes to like their industry. So like you need to leverage that to get more information, even just to educate yourself on their industry, right? Because
Mhm.
that's part of the education process. I mean, you should have questionnaires asking them those questions. Like I always send clients questionnaires before I even start working with them to really know what's the direction I need to look in
Yep.
to start looking at so I can know how to educate myself on their industry. But,
I'm
there's
always
certain
asking questions. Like
same.
there's
You
just
you
you
have to
have
when you get
to.
on those calls, you have to ask those questions because you're never going to understand like
Ooh, I have a great leadership hack in
go for it.
negotiation. So like whenever I tell this a lot to my clients, whenever you have a conversation with a client, if you want to regain leverage in the conversation, just ask a question. Like, just ask questions, lead with questions even. Like it's a great way to like so for example, Dre's going off, right? He's talking about like you know, tips and tricks on for new marketers, right? Say if we were getting into a heated debate, I would just cut through the shit and just ask him a question, and that's how you automatically kind of like shift um leverage in a conversation. Not that that's happening here, but like say if you talk to a client and it feels like it's heated and they
Mhm.
ask you like, why are you doing like we're seeing this on our end, and I'll be like, why what do I say? I'll say something along the lines of like, well, what other platforms are you currently testing? Like what avenues are you like how are you doing, like I'll kind of like, I guess, put it back on them in that way through asking questions. You become a leader through asking questions. So quick hack, keep going, sorry.
No, that's perfect. Yeah.
Now back to the show.
Nah, yeah, you always want to ask questions, because like that's I think people a lot of the times too, they get too scared to ask questions. They get too scared to say,
I
hey,
was for sure.
yeah, that's a common problem. But the more questions you can ask, the more you can understand about their business, and the more you understand about their business, the easier it is for you to understand how to mold your strategy so that it works for their business, right? It's very
Yeah,
important.
100%. Someone asked, real face-to-face conversations is 100 times more powerful than text.
Well,
For sure.
it's
Absolutely. Well, it's
well,
different. It's
well,
more.
it's really one comment split into two. So Brad Smith asks, "Why
All
do you
right.
guys
So
think?"
why are so few people actually passionate about coaching? I don't think that's the case. I don't know. I don't think so many few people are passionate about coaching. I think that the people
Well,
that value coaching are the ones that value accountability. They're the ones that value actually putting a microscope into what they're doing and to enhance their performance. That's why the top athletes have a coach, Um, they do that so that they can enhance their performance. I think like coaching is more of a higher tiered service, so it depends how committed you are and where you're at financially too. Like, so it's not necessarily, I don't think people aren't passionate about it. I just don't think that they are. The better question is, why are people not as passionate about their self development as they should be?
Facts. That's true. I would never understand how people could go spend money. Like, this is one thing I'll never get. How can you go spend money on like turning up and partying, but you won't invest in yourself, like
Yeah, you
to
had
to
such
get
a
a better
great
life?
post.
Yeah, like, it's real. Like
Talk
this.
about it. Talk about it. I want to hear it.
So I was talking to this dude a couple years ago, and when we were talking, we went to high school together. Actually, we went to high school together, and he was like telling me about his situation and how like he he was like how like he was living in this one bedroom apartment. No, he not apartment. He was living in this one. He was renting a room, like he's renting a room in Queens, New York, and he was struggling and he couldn't afford to like. Because I was telling him, I was like, hey man, if you want to get further, because he actually messaged me actually and asked me about what I do. So I was telling him, and then I told him he should invest in himself and buy a course, right? And he was like, well, I can't afford to buy that. I can't afford to buy that. And I'm like, well, you're like okay, cool, whatever, right? But I was trying to educate him and trying to tell him he should make the investment. So when he was telling me he couldn't afford it in that moment, I was like, okay, whatever. But then like the next week, I saw the dude go on a trip with all these people, and I think they went to Vegas or something. I think they went to Vegas,
Wild.
but he went on this trip and he was like turning up and partying and doing all this stuff, and he was portraying to live this lifestyle, have this image that like he had just like I knew wasn't true. Like I, because he told me like, so and it wasn't even just about the lifestyle. It's just more like, dude, you are lying to yourself. You're not lying to anybody else. You're lying to yourself. And now, this is a couple years later, and he's still in the same position.
Yeah.
He's still posting pictures, traveling. He's still doing all this stuff, but he's living in the same place, and it's all because he didn't want to invest in himself. And I'm just like, man, you probably could have been the next Bill Gates. You know what I mean? Like if you would have
Yeah.
took that leap of faith, and that's environment, limited self-beliefs,
I
exposure to
think,
what.
just to add to that, like, I think everyone has. I mean, I have a lot of people around me that, and I know, like Dre, we've talked about this before. It was the same thing where they almost like envy. I don't even like to even give energy to anything like that, but they'll say something along the lines of like, "Wow, you're so lucky," or say something
Yeah,
like,
I hate that.
and it's just everything that I have is everything I've worked for. I literally have had nothing given to me from any kind of privilege that I know of. I mean, it literally grew up in government housing. So I I think that the difference between me and someone, that same person that stays in the same spot, even though we might have crossed paths in some point of our lives, I've never stopped investing in myself, even if that's courses, time. If I didn't, there was points I didn't have the time, or I mean, I didn't have the resources to afford someone like Terry, like, but I sure as hell invested the time in myself. I've read countless books. I'm constantly working to improve myself. There's not a time where I'm not working to improve myself in some kind of way. Like I truly believe in the art of Kaizen, and the mindset of Kaizen is getting better 1% each and every day, compounding positively. Whereas people might have thought like, oh, why are you doing that? That's so stupid, like that's so dumb, things like that, blah, blah, blah. Well, because I did that thing that most people don't do on a daily basis, that's why I passed the 20K threshold, per month. Like that's why Dre did that, like, is even beyond that, like that's because you show up for yourself
Facts.
when no one else does. You show up for yourself and you stay committed. You have conviction. You believe in the bigger picture. I don't do it for money. I never have. I never
Yep.
will. It's just a byproduct and is a metric that I measure and I manage it. But I chase the impact. I chase the potential of who I can be and who I aspire to be, and the impact that I believe my community deserves.
That's so true. And damn, I had something I was gonna say to add on to that, but I forgot. Uh, well, one of the things I can say though is that like me and Sin speak to each other almost every day, and like we are always trying. Like it, you guys you wouldn't even know. It's like we're every day. Hey, I'm trying
What are
to
you
do.
doing
I'm do
here?
yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
Yo, we need to start a competition, another 30-day challenge. Like,
yep, yep.
it's like
All the time. It's
obsessive.
crazy. It's crazy. We're always trying to
Bad.
get better, and I think it's because like we don't take. I think people take certain opportunities for granted, but when you have like the backgrounds that we have, it becomes our competitive advantage in a way,
Yep.
right? Because we don't, because somebody who grew up underneath some, they were financially stable their whole life, they never had an issue, they never had to worry about anything, right? Someone who grew up like that, they're never thinking about like, oh, what happens if I starve? Because they've never had that before. I've had
Yeah.
times before when I was starving. I've had times before when I couldn't, when I had to work 16 hours a day to just to make ends meet. You know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy. So it's like for us, it's crazy. It's like it's very humbling to see where we are at now, and also not. It's always good to never forget where you came from. You know what I mean? And I think when you know where you came from as well, that is what will like one thing I like to say is like perspective drives performance, right?
That's
And the
such a
reason why
fire line. Say it one more time for the people in the
pers-
back.
perspective drives performance, and
Boom.
and and it's because like how you view what you do will always affect how you do what you do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Really. So the way we view it is like we view this as an opportunity, right? Like we view this as an opportunity. And that's why we always want to show up and give the best version of ourselves. Also because we know who we represent at the end of the day,
Yeah.
right? Like it's much bigger than like if your why, if you don't, first off, if you don't have a why, you need to create one. Because if you don't have a why, then it's just it's all about you. It's you're operating from a selfish. And sometimes it's good to be selfish, right? Sometimes it's good to want stuff for yourself. But I think when you think much bigger than that, when you think about like me and Sin, we talk about how we want to be the first people in our family to create this huge impact that everyone could look at and be like, yo, Sin did that. I can do that too. Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just opening up the door. Right. And seeing, and look, don't get me wrong. Like I want to open up the door, but I also want to be the best. Like I also want to be like the best ever. Like I want to challenge someone because I'm just competitive. Like I want to challenge someone. Hey, go do better than me. Try. You know what I mean? But like best believe I'm leaving behind something that's going to be hard to, you know, a hard pill, a hard, what's a hard pair? What's the phrase? Shoes to fill.
Hard shoes to fill. Hard.
Yes, something like that. Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
but if that person feels that, imagine like, if I die with $50 billion in my name and somebody is like competitive enough within my family to be like, I'm gonna surpass that. Like I'm gonna do way better than that.
Yeah.
And then they go and do better than that. Think about what I've just done. Think about what I've just done, what I've just started,
you
right?
blaze the whole trail.
Exactly.
And people that I completely like something that you said. It's just something that always resonates with me. Like if you don't have a why, you know, you're so easily swayed. So the phrase like you lose your way when you lose your why. I love that.
Yep.
I say it all the time and it's so true. Like people get frustrated, they get caught up, and the reason why is because you forgot why you're doing what you're doing. You know, you get lost. We all do that. We're human, and you just kind of have to realign, reconnect. There's many different ways to do that. But it's also a principle. It's also like why I have so much conviction, because I'm not easily swayed by money. I've had money thrown at me for opportunities, but because it doesn't align with my why, it doesn't align with my goals, it doesn't align with the vision that I have for my life, I'm able to, you know, I'm able to stay on track. Like I don't easily sway because I am guided by my why.
Yep.
And that right there is, it's like, I prefer to take a long and slow route than like a get rich quick. Like I don't have a get rich quick kind of mindset. Like people get tripped up and caught up. I've kind of been there a little bit initially when I was immature and naive. And I think that's normal and that's okay, because I admit that I could have, you know, I admit and I got stronger and I got better because of that. But the key here is like to work outside of yourself. Like my goal is honestly being just showing face that a woman can be in business, a woman can make X amount of money, a woman who's Latina, a woman that came from the background that I came from, you know, like not even just a woman, like just someone from my background, you know, like, and just
Right.
having that representing. I think about like my little cousins who are girls
Right.
that, you know, like in our community, it's almost like women can't, they're more timid and things like that. And that's very not who I am at all. So I just want to show face. I like to trailblaze. I think Dre is very much a trailblazer. I think you're a lot more competitive than I am. I like competition. But I see it as fun. Like I'm like a dog,
Yeah.
like, oh, that's so much fun. Like when you tell me something, I'm just like, oh, okay, I'll try it too. Like I'm not thinking, how can I crush you and drink your blood? You know, like I'm not thinking that. I feel like men have that. I sometimes have it. Like it can spark, but
Nah,
like
you
more of an-
definitely have it too, though. You
Yeah,
no.
yeah. But I try to like transform it into
It's like
more of a
smooth.
friendly competition.
It's like smooth. It's like very smooth. It's like
I do have those.
yeah, you do have.
Yeah, you should have seen me in an office setting. Like I was like working with Damon. Like I lost myself. I was like afraid of who I was. I was playing Game of Thrones in that bitch. I was like, and I came up on top, and I was like, "Who am I? I'm
Yeah.
lost." And then that's when I quit my job. That's
One
another
thing-
story.
Yeah, I'm
One thing
gonna
I
make a
want to say, though-
biopic out of you, one of you guys, one of these days.
I think Dre has
One
a
thing-
crazier story. I've never been almost homeless, you know. But
Yeah.
wait. Before you get into it, Dre, I just want to say, I do want to wrap up in like 10 minutes.
Same. I'm tired and I want to
can
eat.
tell
Like,
Dresean's tired as fuck. He's like yawning out here. Nick is tired as shit from our fucking inspirational stories.
Who said that?
From our Goldcast stories.
Who said that?
so
Better than my dark one.
Whoa.
So
That's
one thing
another live stream.
I want to say, because Brad Smith said Steve Jobs had, yeah, I guess he meant to say had very selfish and selfless motivation. He changed the world for the better. So whether his motivation was selfish or not is irrelevant. The result is the same. Yeah, but if
I
you
don't
go
know
read,
about
It doesn't-
that.
Wait,
but
if
did
you go
live a
read-
fulfilling life though, like were you
Exactly.
happy? Like he his
he
At the
literally
end of the
said,
day, it's,
like,
"Are you
like,
fulfilled?"
wait. If you go read what he said before he died, go read that, right? He was not happy. He was not happy. He was like, he had all this money, but he didn't realize that it was, there were things that were more important. And it's important to understand that, because you can lose yourself in money. You can lose yourself in all that stuff.
Yeah, like
If-
me, what I was talking about before, like I totally lost myself in that shit.
Right.
And that lifestyle, it's so easy to do that.
It
You
is.
who you
A lot
are.
of times
and
you
I was
don't-
not happy. I was
Yeah.
miserable.
Exactly.
I was
A lot of
absolutely
times you
miserable.
don't know who you are until you just go until you're the opposite.
See,
Until you're not.
I
See-
think so. That too, you can also learn by experience, but I think that more importantly,
Well,
Um,
that's how you get to being not what you are, is the experiences and what you do and
But-
your life path essentially.
I'm
But-
okay with being like. Here's the thing, like I'm okay with. I'm led by conviction, and I know I will always win in the end because I'm okay with being broke. I'm okay with holding out if I have to in order to win down the line, right?
Mhm.
I'm not willing to compromise my happiness and the happiness of the people around me. I'm not willing to compromise on my lifestyle either. Like I've passed up job opportunities because I'd have to wear pants, and that's ridiculous. That's just an absolute deal breaker for me.
There you go.
So
I got an opportunity from HubSpot. Like, they messaged me like, "Hey, come work for us," and I was like, "Not right now. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for a job." So like that's that's ultimately what I also wanted to say is, if you, what was I gonna say?
Okay, come to that. I got one.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, oh shit, did I lose it too? Oh no. Okay, I got it. I was reading Brad Smith's comment. He said, if someone isn't happy with money, they'll be unhappy broke too. Money doesn't automatically make you happy, but being broke makes you miserable. I think being broke is actually one of the biggest crimes in today's society, actually. So it's not like, it's like, I don't think, what am I trying to say? I think lack of money is worse than abundance. I agree. But once you have your basic needs set, right, then you can start thinking in a sense that you can, when you have money, you'll see that it's not everything either. Like, obviously, you need to have the basic minimum, right? You need to be able to survive. You need to be happy. But having a ton of money does not equal happiness either. Like you need to understand what makes you happy. Like, what's your break even point? That's why it's like now I even think like I'm having meetings with my executive assistant, and I'm seeing my money as like the business's money. That's not even my money anymore. It's just like the money that I'm putting aside to pay people, essentially, which is kind of weird. It's a weird
Yeah.
mindset. But
At the
it's
same
like
time,
money is not, money is a tool. Like, guys, it's a tool. It's a tool.
right?
It's a tool that can make you maybe less miserable, but it's not necessarily going to make you happy. That's what
Right.
I'm trying to get
Yeah.
across. Yeah.
Fair. At the same time, though, if you guys didn't come from the backgrounds that you came from, you guys wouldn't have had the fire lit under your ass, as I can tell you guys do now, just from listening to you guys talk back and forth. So it's,
That's true.
I don't want to say it's a necessary evil, but it's like yin yang. Like, something has to happen in order to create good things.
I
You know.
I
Thinking about that.
so actually I interviewed Quentin Allums on my YouTube channel, and one of the things that I asked him, I was like, hey, why, what, first of all, he was super young when he started his video production company, and his
How old is that dude?
like 25. Like
Oh my
Jeez.
god.
he was super young. So I was like, dude,
Crazy.
because yeah, because he started his company, or maybe he's like 26, maybe he's my age, but he was like, he was, let me see,
I'm so old.
he started his company when he was 23. I know that for sure. And he was like his company grew like exponentially. Like they grew really fast. And he hit seven figures in like I think like less than 18 months or something like that. But the thing is that like I asked him, I was like, hey, what do you think? I heard your background story. I heard everything that you were saying, about like how you used to buy chicken and rice because it was the only thing that you and your dog both can eat, right? How did you succeed? Like, what made you succeed? And he was like, I was pissed off. He was like, I was mad. My girlfriend broke up with me. I was mad. I was
That is
broke.
a powerful motivator.
He's like, my
Yeah.
girlfriend broke up with me. I was mad. I was broke. He was like, I had no money. I couldn't, my dog got hit by a car. I couldn't feed my dog. Like there was so much stuff
Did
happening.
it just
all
get
at
dark in
once.
here?
Yeah, jeez.
There's just so all these things happening at once, but that was his main like driver.
That was
Like him
fire
being
under his
broke.
ass.
That was it. You know what I mean?
Damon, Damon wrote a whole book called The Power of Broke,
Yeah.
So
It's
100%. I
The power of
yeah.
bad shit, not even necessarily being
It's like a
broke. It's the
double-edged
power of
sword.
bad shit happening to you. Because something I
about
realized
that a
growing
lot.
up, like you notice that a lot of people who went on to do good things lost a parent, or like something bad happened to them.
Yo,
It could be.
chill. That's
I know.
creepy.
Well, still, it's the idea that a lot of times, in order for someone to do really good things or like notable things, a lot of times
Batman.
something bad has to happen to them. In a
You're
way,
gonna have me thinking about that a lot. I think.
don't-
I think. I think.
it's
I think
well,
it's more. I think it's the concept of pressure makes diamonds. Maybe. I think.
yeah.
Right?
So we wouldn't get
That
the
concept.
diamonds. So we wouldn't get the
Without
diamonds if
hardship.
there's no pressure.
Yeah.
It's so it's
I don't
like
know-
in
I
a
don't
way.
necessarily think you have to go through what we went through, though.
Well,
I
how
don't know.
the thing
I feel like
is,
you're right. I don't know. You're like. I feel like you're
it's
right, but I also don't know. I don't know if there's an answer.
well,
I think
it's
you've made
it's
a
led me
pretty
down some
astute-
really weird and dark lines of thought because like I've thought of the worst thing that ever happened to me, and then but I realized that all the things it's led me to do, which is in part this, like being able to essentially not have a job, I have clients,
Yeah.
pretty much everything in who I am is good or bad is a result of the thing that happened. So in a way, even though on paper it was the worst thing that happened to me, in a way it was probably the best thing.
And I also think the worst thing that happens to one person could all it really depends, right? Like everything is so contextual because like
I know.
the worst thing that could
It's like
the worst thing that could happen to one person could be the best thing that could happen to somebody else, right? Like for
Or the
example,
same person.
the worst thing that could happen, like, and I'm very sensitive to these people, like these kids, the little kids in Africa that's starving and stuff like that. The worst thing that could happen to me right now is I'm hungry. I want to eat, but I miss a meal. Oh my God, I'm hungry. But there's kids in Africa, right? Like, at least
That's their life.
if they get to eat once, right? Like, they're gonna be happy. Whereas me, it's like I ate earlier today, but I'm hungry now, and I'm like, I need to eat again, or no, I'm not gonna be happy, right? So it's contextual. Everything is contextual. Like,
what he's saying is like it's true. Like if you try to, so I know this because of Andy, he's obsessed with screenwriting, that's his thing. So if you break down every like major character arc that we or public figure or any kind of character that we admire, like Batman, Jesus Christ, they all have this like crazy character arc, they have all this like point of redemption, they all go from like here to here, like they have this arc. Right?
Yeah, the only reason they got up here is because
they
they
were
first
down
they
there.
had to
I
go
agree.
down that
Yeah,
there.
like I'm
And it's like
agree with what you're
on-
saying a little bit.
but what
I'm
about
also,
Jeff
like,
Bezos?
But what?
in what way?
What? Yeah. What do you
Like,
mean?
what was his like? His parents gave him all his money to start Amazon.
He still started in a garage, if I'm not mistaken.
He had like 30 something $30 million, I think. Like,
Well, I don't think rich people are just you could be really miserable and sad rich. That's what I'm saying. Like I they still deserve a character arc. It's just like our character arc. I don't know. I feel like
It's
I have more
so
bragging
it's
rights. It's
more
like the difference
it's
between
more
bragging.
common.
It's the difference between bragging between, like I'm from Brooklyn versus I'm from Long Island. I'm from Queens versus like one
Yeah,
holds more
yeah.
weight. Like obviously I
Right.
can't whine like, oh, my mommy loved me too much and I got so much money. Like I can't, you can't like hold that right. But meanwhile, if you have just more bragging rights, I guess. But that doesn't take away from the fact that they probably, like they're rich people that get, you know,
I think my
busted.
whole
They're
point I'm trying to
rich people.
my whole point I'm trying to make is like we hear all the sob stories, but we don't hear the people who probably didn't
Are
have them.
fine.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
That's
So maybe it's
boring. It's like, okay, they were
it
born
is
into a
boring.
decent family, a wealthy family, and they made more wealth. Because
Yeah.
that's
But I
not an interesting story.
well, I
It is
say that
not
to say
interesting. Our kids are
I
gonna be so boring. Like my kids are gonna have such a boring life.
right. I say that to
I feel
say
bad for
like
them.
I say that to say like, you know, hey, I don't want anything. I don't want like somebody I know to like just die or something. And then it's like my fuel,
Yeah.
my fuel to
No.
like get to the next level. But
Kevin
also,
Yee.
yo,
Uh-oh.
Yo,
damn,
Kevin Yee, subscribe to the channel. I don't know. Kevin Yee, maybe we could do a live stream tomorrow. I don't
Scale
know.
that
Bring
channel.
on bring on Dre. Bring
yo,
on
let's
Nick.
do it.
Let's
Let's
do
do
it.
it.
All right.
Let's do it.
But
I
it's
appreciate you, Kevin Yee. Kevin
it's
Yee, everyone follow him. He's
the
the
weird.
he's the Kaizen King. That's what I call him,
Yeah.
the Kaizen King.
It's
But Kevin Yee has actually came on at the right time. So I'm gonna leave this to Dre to leave us. We'll all have like one leaving words because this shit got mad dark out
Yo,
of nowhere. And I'm freaking starving. So Dre,
Damn.
last lines.
I'm hungry.
Great.
pizza time.
And
Pizza time, right?
yeah, it's actually, damn,
Shit, it's
Kevin,
9
you
p.m. for
came.
you guys.
All right, I just gotta say one more thing. Like,
Go.
yo, so this is like a fun fact. So I think I started watching Kevin Yee's channel. Like I watched it a while ago. I didn't subscribe or anything. I wasn't a regular watcher, but I seen it a couple of times. And it's funny that we're talking about this topic right now, and he comes in at this moment because I remember a long time ago watching a video, and rest in peace. I remember and I hope you don't mind me speaking about this, but I remember a long time ago he made a video saying that one of his big motivators to like close a really high ticket client was the loss of his father.
Yeah.
And like it's just crazy because like we can see that also being reflected in like him, and it's crazy how we're just talking about this like this arc and this like crazy story and all this stuff that could happen, but it's also pretty like it makes you think, you know what I mean? It makes you think of like, I don't know, it just makes you think. It's just crazy. It's crazy how the world works, how the universe works and stuff like that,
I know how to close that off. I'm gonna tee it up really
Yeah,
nice
go
for
ahead.
you. Guys, I want to leave you with this one message that Dre tried to say, and he did say kind of.
Yeah.
Everything that happens to you, this is something I've been saying a lot lately, especially with the political climate thing. Q4. Facebook the other day just like shut down all of my clients' advertising accounts.
Oh man.
With everything going on, there is a way to use this as fuel. That does not take away from the fact that what you're going through is tough. I'm not saying that. I'm not gaslighting you. But everything that comes your way can be a great opportunity to build character. There is in Stoic philosophy, which is something I'm very into nowadays, is the metaphor of describing each and every person as a fire, eternal fire, and everything that you throw into a fire, that fire is fuel. Even if it slowly, dims a little bit, it's still fuel. It's still fueling the fire. It keeps going. So everything that comes your way, I would say, embrace what you feel, embrace it head on. That's how you deal with things. You actually deal with them,
Yep.
and let it fuel you, let it mold you, let it build character. Hardships are not a bad thing. They're necessary for character growth. So whatever you're going through, it's the same thing with dealing with things in an account. This is an opportunity to build data, even if it goes awry and things aren't, performance is tanking. At least we're building data and we're accruing data, and we're allowed to learn, from the data when we can take a step back. So I say all this to say, to be the fire, keep going. Everything that comes your way, can be fuel for you. The obstacle is always the way. Never stop challenging yourself. I can go to a million other like motivational lines, but I love all of you for watching
Yeah.
this. Thank you so much. I
You
appreciate
can't tell
you.
I'm tired.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for
All
Yeah,
right,
you
guys.
guys.
being on, Nick. I appreciate you.
Yo, Nick, man, keep doing what you're doing,
You're the
man.
real MVP, man.
You are, man. I appreciate
Dude,
you.
you guys are spitting out all this fire, and I'm just here along for the ride, wishing I remembered to get some popcorn at the grocery store today. 'Cause this is it's good stuff. I guess if I was gonna leave everyone watching with one thing, is that pretty much anything could be a motivation. In your case, it's you want to be the very best, competitive, you want to inspire people, or it could be something as simple as wanting to rediscover humanity. It could be anything. So figure out what it is for you and just use it.
Facts. And also comment if you think I should have bangs. I could do curly bangs. I'm not sure. Just kidding.
Yo,
That
that's
I appreciate all of you. I'm not gonna do bangs. It just looks horrible. And keep going. Obstacle is
thank
the way,
God.
guys. Keep going. Keep going. Take care,
Yeah.
everyone.
all right,
Yeah, we'll
guys.
see
Good
you guys
night.
next time.
Going to sleep. Bye.